fortune's fame, mirror vein, gone insane, but the memory remains.
Hello everybody and welcome to part 5 of the letter. You don't know how fucking hard it was to actually get part 4 up. I mean, seriously, I recorded that like 2 days ago and I've been fighting with it for like a day and a half before I finally got it uploaded. So, here we are. Let's go. Last we left off, we had just reached Zachary's storyline. What? No. You know, I just kind of realized what that was. Alright. A pleasant aroma hits me long before I cross the threshold. Faint, but light and warm, a reminder of what home is. Pa's stern and commending gaze, Ma's tender kisses, smiles. I don't know why I thought kisses, I don't know why, but that's like kind of what I insinuate with Mother, you know, oh, kisses on the cheek and forehead. Ma's tender smiles, the sunlight filtering through the eaves? Fuck it, eaves in the morning. The distinct smell of cinnamon and vanilla as it drifts through the air every time someone or something cooks from the room. The room. Our room. Ma and Pa's pride and joy. My sister and I too, eventually. But we aren't allowed there. Not yet. Not until we're taller or older. Not until we've learned how to take care of ourselves and not burn our hands or reach the cupboards without having to be lifted.
But a little peek wouldn't hurt, yeah?
The floorboards are cold under my feet, more than it usually is. The walls more foreboding, more forbidding than what I'm used to. Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases and Pa...
No, please wait! I'll be good! I'll sleep on time!
Should I be worried?
Don't go!
I can't hear Pa. Oh. Well, shit, I'm barely even into the... I'm barely 2 minutes... About to hit 3. I'm 3 minutes into the fucking video, and someone has already gotten shot. And I'm not even playing that kind of game. I mean, goddamn. Not even the... Raucous clanging and the deafening roar of gunshots, not the screams replacing the comforting soft melodies. There's only the blinding fear. When my foot slips, the Red Sea that catches me is bitter and frigid. But the cold that drips in my hand is warm, warm, warm. It ain't my blood. The walls tumble and everything goes quiet. It takes a few moments for everything to fall in place, for my eyes to adjust to the relative darkness of the room. Despite the pleasant chill the AC brings, my shirt is clinging tightly to me, and my blanket a tangled mess around my throat. Morning has not even arrived yet.
Way too early for this thing, man.
And too long. Too long since the last I've woken up drenched in my own sweat, head littered with thoughts that were gone as soon as my eyes open. All too often, only imprints and brief images are left to haunt me for the rest of the day, or until my mind forgets about it. Egad? What fucking word is that? Whichever comes first, yet vivid or not, what little I can remember does not matter. Regardless, the desperation sticks, crawling up, pushing, urging me to relieve every moment, every sensation, and There's a twinkle in Ma's eyes when she looks up from her work, flour dusting her nose and cheeks. The scent of freshly baked bread wafts over the stove, or wafts from the stove as soon as Pa opens it, and the homely fragrance of honey fills the room. He reaches up to wipe the small bead of sweat away from his forehead before gesturing for me to come closer. The moment he spots me on my little hiding place behind the door, I expected him to be angry, but his pat on the back when I came within his arm's reach is encouraging enough. We'll have to taste these first before we put it up for sale tomorrow. You up for it, little man? Is it good enough? A knock cuts through the air before I can answer. Sharp, heavy, demanding, familiar. So distantly familiar. Ma ushers me out of the kitchen when Pa moves to answer it. But I know what waits outside. The taste of blood in my mouth sends an unpleasant churning in my gut. Ma's apron crinkles under my tight grip. Something snaps me back into place. My bed remains in utter disarray. The walls still need a new paint job, and the wall clock ticking opposite my bed is unsettling as ever. Ash is right. I should have already replaced that when I had the
You're
chance.
no longer there, Zachary. Here and there are miles apart. Calm down. Breathe.
The pressure of my own fingers against my temple are a welcome sensation over the anxiety gripping me. I never really did anything to stave off the headache, sure. I never really did anything to stave off the headache, sure, to follow after this before, but it grounds me. A little reminder that I am safe, away from the place I once called home, for Ma and Pa's. The urgency with each rap that follows finally chases away the ghosts threatening to hang around. Real quickly, what's the date? It's not that one. Fuck it, I'm going off the assumption that this is... I'm going to go ahead and assume that this is after Isabel's storyline ending, wherever I was hiding, because, you know, shit happens. She somehow managed to escape, for a little bit at least. The urgency with each rap that follows finally chases away the ghost threatening to hang around. Why anyone thinks it's a good idea to knock on someone else's door, this slate confuses me. Nana would chase them all away with a broom if she was here, but no matter. It's a welcome break from the thoughts about to take a morbid turn if left festering. It's probably just Ash anyway, looking for a place to freeload. Crashed? Though, looking for a place to crash. Wonders. Well, actually, let me check the relationship. Yeah, high relationships with everyone, with the exception of Marianne and Luke, but that's to be expected from Luke. He's a dick to everyone. Even with that hunch, though, habit compels me to check who is first through the peephole. Better safe than sorry, they say. Except the person that greets me on the other side ain't him. Unless his hair grew long overnight and started to wear a ponytail, of course, which I highly doubt will happen anytime soon, no matter how funny that looks on his head. In my head. Oh, waste no time opening the latches.
Isabella, it's late.
Yep, this has to be after the storyline with Isabella, or at least her pathway. So that would tell me, shit. Don't pay attention to that. Okay. So that would tell me that she somehow managed to escape from this, which I fucked up because I wasn't ready for, and now that I look at it, I'm kind of sore about it, but potato potato. There's something I can't quite pinpoint in her eyes when she looks up. Her face is pallid shade, shoulders tense, breathing heavy, and an uncomfortable shaking in her hands she's trying to hold back. Hide if I didn't know any better.
Hey, Zach. Sorry, I know it's weird for me to show up at this hour, but you are the closest to my office, and
No. It's perfectly fine. I'm not really working on anything right now. Do you want to come in?
is it all right? I know you should be sleeping at this hour, but I thought...
Stop trying to be courteous. I'm talking about Isabella. Like, just take his help. I mean, I doubt the grudge bitch is gonna do anything, at least overtly, if you're in someone else's presence. Of course, then again, I suppose I could just go ahead and throw that out the window, because she did kind of happen to pop up at the party, but... Well, technically she'd only be visible to the few people that saw the notes, so... I suppose that wasn't overt. I don't know, I'm rambling.
I'm sorry, I just thought... I have no idea why I went here. My feet just moved on their own after I got out of the office, and... Sorry.
She trails off, her voice lost in the muggy night air. I wait for her to say more, but instead, her only response is a downward shift of her gaze. Back to her still trembling hands, as if the motion alone is enough for an explanation. A minuscule gesture, easy to miss if one's not paying attention. But for someone who has seen the same expression in the mirror, done the same thing too many times when night terrors are inevitable, it is.
Hey, don't worry about it. At least you knocked. Ash just barges in and crashes on the couch whenever he feels like it. I swear that guy is one fine hairline away from being a criminal.
Without waiting for her answer, I step away from the door and saunter over to the kitchenette. For a few good seconds, only clunking of plates can be heard above the constant tick-tock. Late as it may be for a snack, the familiar motion keeps me occupied, steering my mind away from dangerous thoughts. I can only assume that he's talking about suicide. Isabella's company is not unwelcome either. Whatever her reason for showing up at such a late hour, doesn't matter. I'll be damned if I'll just turn her away, frazzled as she is. The door clicks shut behind her before she finally enters, feet scuffling softly against the tiled floor. In all the years I've known her, she has never once lost her ever upbeat spirit. Yet in this particular moment, as she stands in my doorway, holding her arms close to herself, it's as if I'm looking at someone completely withdrawn from the person I've come to know all these years.
Do you want to drink or eat anything? I haven't restocked my food stash yet, so ingredients may be a bit limited. But I'm sure I can whip something up with what I have here.
Just water will do, please.
That's probably for the best. You might end up throwing that shit right back up if ate something too heavy. I mean, probably coming off from adrenaline, huh?
Thanks, Zach.
What? No additional food requests? That's new. I'll put something together for you anyway. Feel free to make yourself at home. You ain't exactly a new visitor here. Although my room's not at its most presentable right now. Sorry. New freelance gigs and such. Didn't have time to fix things up here lately.
It's okay. I don't mind.
Usually she'd have something more to say about that. A quip, a witty remark to provoke a laugh or two. Nothing from her this time. Only a weak smile before she takes a seat on the couch, and as the silence that stretches out until what we left hanging feels disconcerting. Before everything turns stifling and awkward, I continue talking, if only to keep the dead air at bay. How's one supposed to keep a conversation going when the person you're talking to is like this?
Anyway, Gigs, can you believe this one client we got? Boss had all my schedule shoots shifted after they caught wind of this couple buying a new property. Man, must be nice to have all the money in the world.
Zach, shut up.
The world itself
Stop.
moves for you, huh?
She curled up on the one side of the couch and hugged her knees close as I bring the tray carrying the sandwiches and the water she requested. Zach, don't start talking about the Ermengarde. Miss Grudge bitch might decide to show up. Not only that, Isabella might go into a fucking panic. She starts to straighten up as I'm unloading the contents, but pauses as soon as I hold my hand in a halting
You're a
gesture.
guest. Didn't I say you're free to make yourself at home? Here's your water. Careful.
The tremor in her hands, though lighter now, still hasn't subsided when she reaches out for the glass. I give her a questioning look, but she is quick to avert her eyes, keeping herself occupied by taking small gulps of water. Or maybe she just doesn't want me to ask any questions. Worrying. The sudden loss for words about a quiet not normally present in our chats. Even the crinkling of the old chair when I casually take a seat is a welcome break. Real quickly, I want to see how much leeway I have for fucking... if I piss her off, I'm going below the threshold, which could be bad. Although the company's familiar, this has gone way past
What happened?
unnerving.
Overtime at work?
She doesn't answer immediately. Another gulp drains her glass and its remaining contents. One would think it will be enough to help her recover, yet she doesn't lose her taut grip on the glass as she cradles it in her lap. Her eyes take an unfocused gaze when she speaks again.
Yeah. Boss handed me extra work today. After what happened. To Rose.
Rose. Why do I feel like you've mentioned her before? Sorry, I'm better with remembering faces than names.
She was my coworker. That will take some getting used to. I was just talking to her the other day.
Was? Did she resign or something? I think I'm missing a few details here, Bella.
You've never met her. I think I did mention her once or twice.
Yeah, it was in the past. It was during her storyline when they talked. I
Doesn't
remember.
matter. You probably heard her name recently from the news than me.
Something clicks then. A little memory of the night before. The bright red light from the dark room, the strong odor of the stopped bath, the television barely audible murmur in the background, and a glimpse of a bloody room. The news is everywhere, even in the morning that follows. I just didn't think its effects will strike someone this close to me.
Oh. Damn. I didn't mean to bring that up.
No, like I said, it'll take some getting used to, but it'll get better. I hope it will. Things might become a little busier for me, though. She left a lot of things unfinished, and I'm one of the few people in the office who knows how she works. Boss thinks the transition will be easier if I handle it.
That explains it. Well, just don't forget you still need rest. Even the most hard-working people I know don't keep hours as late as this.
Ash?
Hell, the subway stopped running hours ago. Crime rate might be lower here than most places, but that doesn't mean you can walk around freely in the middle of the night.
That is true.
It's just for today.
Still a good thing you dropped by here first. I'm not just about to let you walk out here alone, especially not in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that would be a very bad idea.
Who knows what else could happen? I'm not saying you should go right now, but I could accompany you home if you...
No! Wait, please!
The vehement tension in her voice makes me pause, and it's this instant the mask she's been keeping up falls apart, if only for a short while. Right then and there, I understood what's hiding behind her unfocused stare from her the moment she arrived. Fear. Pure, unadulterated fear. No shit. It's disturbing to see such marring... It's disturbing to see such marring her usual upbeat countenance? Oh, fuck it. With a sigh, I cross the small distance separating us and kneel in front of her. She doesn't flinch when I do so. However, the way she appears to make herself smaller against the couch is telling
Bella,
enough.
this ain't just about your coworker, is it? What is it really about? I'm all ears.
Grudge bitch! Saving. The sound of glass shattering wrenched through the air as soon as her hold. The sound of glass shattering wrenched through the air as soon as her hold on it loosens. Oh, it wasn't the gross bitch. In the span of a few seconds, her breathing grows labored.
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
She claps her hand over her ears, pressing it tightly against the side of her head. Her voice grows weaker with each word, each plea coming out of her mouth.
Please don't leave me alone. I don't want to be alone right now. I can't shake it off. Everywhere's not safe and...
Alright, Isabella. Look at me. Look.
Oops, shit. My hands are firm on her shoulders when I pull her up to look at me. It takes every force of will to ignore the terror in her eyes in favor of taking control of the situation. Too close, too similar.
Breathe. You're safe here. Inhale, hold, exhale. Stay in the present. I'm here. No one's gonna hurt you. Do you want to talk about it?
The force in which she shakes her head isn't enough reason to drop the topic altogether.
Please, no more. I don't want...
You know, I didn't really want to, but let me check the... Well, shit, I missed those two little sub-events. Well, goddamn, I'm missing half the fucking story! Like, what the hell? God damn, his is long as hell. You know, out of curiosity, how many encounters does he have with the ghost girl? One. That's fucking bad. And I hope to God I don't get that one because I can already tell that means Zack dies. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. There's no, there ain't no way that's going to happen. That's probably going to end up being a choice. If, provided I, as I done found out, one of these is related to, a choice previous in the story, and then these two, at least I think these two, would be focused around a decision, and yeah.
I don't want to remember anymore.
Kate, no more talking. I won't ask any more. Can I get you anything? Another glass of water? I think I have a tub of that pistachio ice cream you love so much. We're gonna have to clean this mess first. Will you be fine on your own for a little while?
She nods lightly before retreating to herself again. With no more words are exchanged after that, and I take that as my cue to start cleaning the shards littering the floor before either one of us gets hurt. The quiet hum of the AC is a pleasant distraction as I go over the menial task. More so than her ragged draws of breath are my own feeble attempts to tell a quick story or two, but the latter does the trick. And soon enough, she has already drifted off by the time I return with the promised glass of water, her chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm, the strain on her shoulders gone. Frankly, I've never seen her this still. She mumbles something I can't quite catch when I carry her to the empty bed, and hugs herself tighter around the mess of blankets. In spite of the fact, she appears relaxed. A small frown on her face hasn't quite disappeared. Whatever happened to her won't be leaving her anytime soon. Yeah, if only he knew. But for her sake, I hope it won't stay long with her. There are still questions left to be answered. But this late hour, coupled by the sudden exhaustion, made my old couch a more comfortable bed than it typically is. blackness immediately welcomes me as soon as my head hits the makeshift pillow. I can only wish the dreams will keep at a safe distance for now. For both of us. Okay, so it's October 25th. No, I don't want to say it. Okay, no. October 25th. Yep. Okay, that makes sense. And this is going to continue all the way on to November 1st. Well, provided I don't kill everyone, because, you know, Hannah's story didn't end on a happy note. The first few notes, while muffled, were enough to wake me up. In the end, it became one of those nights when sleep passes like a blink as it... It became one of those nights when sleep passes like a blink and is plagued with vague, fuzzy thoughts. I lift my hand to rub away the drowsiness from my eyes, although it does little to relieve the gritty burning sensation from my eyelids. Outside, the sun is yet to peek over the horizon, but night has already given way to the cool morning light, washing everything in subtle gray hues. At this hour, the entire city remains unstirring. Ordinarily, waking up before my own alarm means abusing the snooze button, twice or thrice just to make those precious few extra minutes of sleep. But the persistent ringing makes it impossible now.
This better be good.
Sounds like me when I get up in fucking bed. Groggily, I scramble for the bag sitting at the foot of the bed. The ringing still hadn't stopped, even as I fished the phone out, and Ashton's face flashes brightly on the screen when I turn it on. Might be pretty urgent if he hasn't dropped the call yet.
Took you long enough, Z-Man.
Ashton, it's 6 in the morning. The sun hasn't even risen. Hell, my brain ain't even awake yet. Stop calling me Z-Man.
It's 20 past 6, Zach.
That's the kind of response I'd get from fucking Devin.
You want to talk? Give me back my 5 extra minutes, Ash. I want my sleep.
Hey, don't make fun of me. I can be a more person too if I want to.
What's this all really about? You don't usually make calls around this hour. Is the world ending today?
Sorry about that. Becca rang me up a few minutes ago looking for Isabella. Said she didn't show up in her own apartment last night. We both tried calling, but her phone seems to be off.
Or lost.
Do you have any idea where...
I should have known you two would come looking for her first thing in the morning.
Not a laughing matter, Zach. You can't really let your guard down with everything that's happened here recently.
Okay, so that line right there tells me that Ash has already been exposed to the ghost bitch. And so has Becca.
You've heard about the Cooper woman from the news. Everyone in the precinct has been restless ever since the incident the other day.
Or he's talking about that.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Listen, Ash, about Bella.
I let my voice trail off, unsure of how to go about recounting last night, if I should even say anything to him. He might be a close friend, but at the end of the day, whatever's bothering her ain't mine to speak of in the first place. On the bed, Isabella remains as still as when I transferred her the night before. Sometime during her sleep, she pulls the blanket over herself and tucked it into it comfortably. Like this, it's easy to forget the horror in her eyes, or how much her hands and lips trembled. Save for her firm grip on the edge of the corners, she appears nearly as normal as she would any other day. Almost.
I'm not really sure how to go about this while being...
Zach, what about her?
Something, the worry, the concern must have surfaced in my tone because his own shifts then, carefully, as if he's preparing for the
Look,
worst.
you don't have to worry about her. She's with me right now. Since last night, in fact.
Oh, why didn't you just say so earlier?
She kind of knocked in the middle of the night. I couldn't possibly wake you two over that. And with how things are when she arrived, I thought it'd be best if I let her rest first. I just wasn't expecting people would be looking for her before the rooster even crows.
You could have at least called her something. Becca's beside herself with worry when she found out. You know how much she frets about the smallest stuff.
I know. I'm sorry. That was a lapse on my part. I just didn't think.
And that wasn't a last, but that was more of a thing of, okay, well, the problem's done taking care of itself. Let's just go to bed and everything will be great by the time morning comes. Which, granted, I suppose it didn't work out that way, but
Okay, you know what? Rebecca's worries ain't completely baseless. Isabella hasn't been her usual self since the movie. Maybe even before that. I don't know if I should be opening my mouth about this, but Bella didn't outright say I shouldn't, so
So something's wrong then?
I'm not quite sure, to be completely honest. I couldn't get the story out of her.
Really? I thought you'd learned something from me by now.
That's not it. Ash, when she appeared at my doorstep last night, she was shaking, and when I tried to ask her about it, she just panicked. Had this frightened look on her face. I'd be surprised if this was the first time I've seen it, but it ain't. Dude, the first time, she was screaming.
First time? When was this? You weren't talking about the thing in the movie house, are you? Because that was just us fooling around. Granted, I think I went overboard with the joke, but...
No, it happened the day after. When she invited us to lunch, we were walking one second
Shit, I
and
didn't mean
then
to
the
do that.
next, she's crying out. I'll be straight with you. That scared me shitless.
it bothered him if the way he falls silent after is telling. But whatever his opinion is stays absent from his voice when he speaks again. He's always been good at that, hiding what he thinks. And a lot of people are.
Did she say anything else?
Nothing. Won't tell me anything aside from a few vague words. I didn't want to push it.
Yeah, that was flat. I ain't drinking that. Sorry.
Where is she? Is she still sleeping?
Right here with me, still sleeping. Should I wake her up or something? Let her know you guys are looking for her?
No need. Let her rest. I'll drop by in a few.
Today? Don't you have work at this time? I mean, I can drop her off home myself before meeting my client later.
Look who's talking.
I don't think meeting your clients is exactly a good idea, considering I fucked up as bad as I did with Hannah, her being possessed and all. At least that's what I think it is. Either that, or I just ended up turning her into yandere, but I'm more inclined to say that she's possessed.
My schedule's flexible, Ash. Last time I checked, you're the one who didn't have that luxury. How on earth do you think I'm able to tag along when you need me?
It's not completely out of the way.
They live on the other side of the town from you, Ash. Your definition of out of the way is a little screwed up, you know.
It's fine. I have some things I need to do anyway. I'll call you back. I've got to let Becca know that Scared Cat's fine. Bye.
Shit. He drops the call before I even get a word in, and for several minutes later I find myself simply listening to the rest of Luxembourg Rose. The increasing sound of passing traffic, the bustling of the nearby shops, preparing for the day, and the growing clamor of the people while they go about their mornings. Not the most soothing sounds to hear following a troubled night, but the routine puts me at ease nevertheless. What's comforting, what's safe, what I'm used to. Nobody. Nearby, Isabella shifts, but doesn't wake, blissfully unaware of the city slowly stirs itself back to life. Was her night as restless as the one I had? Were her dreams as lucid? In hushed moments like this, I envy her. Unreasonable, probably a little unfair to say such in light fact, since light of last night. It's only forgetting. If only forgetting is as easy as breathing. A small yawn escapes me when I rise from the couch and stretch. Luckily, the short conversation with Ash has effectively driven away any will to go back to bed. I still have the day to get through despite the proverbial ghosts hanging around. That's called fourth wall breaking. That's called foreshadowing. Pills here. Orange bottle sitting in The orange bottle sitting at the edge of my table is reassuring against my palm the instant I pick it up. The sterile odor of the capsules, equally so. Yet the weight they carry is something I've never gotten used to. Years ago, I'd spent minutes, heck, even hours staring at a single pill prior to taking one in. Now it's just routine, a way to stave off unwanted nightly visits. Although I don't think Dr. Navarro will be quite pleased if he finds out that I've been relying on them again. I do owe him a visit regardless, especially after missing our appointments on purpose or ignoring his calls for weeks. Another sigh comes out, tired and weary. Then I pop a tablet in my mouth.
Zach? What time is it?
Bottle in my hand. The bottle in my hand hits the table with more force than necessary. As much as I trust my friends, there are some things I'd rather keep to myself. Ain't that the fucking truth?
Morning, Bella. Did you sleep well?
She answered the question with a long drawn-out yawn, one reminiscent of a child. A chuckle manages to come out of my mouth at the sight. In this manner, it's easy to mistake her for someone too young for responsibilities, inexperienced and immature even. Easy to forget she was thrust into the role of an adult even earlier than her own dreams can afford. To overlook how surprisingly observant she can be at times. Maybe not on the same level Ash exercises for his investigations, or Rebecca needs for her own work. But it's certainly enough to deftly put what she sees around her on canvas. And if the way her eyes flicker on the table as my hand says something, it is that I won't be able to avoid the questions this time.
Only a little. I don't remember how I ended up on the bed, though.
Ma doing? You didn't look very comfortable sleeping on the couch, all hunched up like that.
It would have been enough for something temporary. Sorry I stole your bed.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Besides, what kind of gentleman would I be if I leave a lady sleeping in such uncomfortable conditions? Not in this house. My nana will give me a tough scolding if I ever did that, I'm telling you.
Thanks a lot, Zach. I know I barged in at a very inconvenient time last night. I wasn't really thinking when I did, and...
Well, I mean, fear does that to people.
Hey, it's cool, Bella. I ain't mad at you. That's what friends do. You guys are welcome here anytime. Although Ashton abuses the anytime part a lot, I don't really mind. We might have less wiggle room if all four of us are present, considering the size of this place. But as long as no one makes anything explode, it's totally fine.
Fine or not, I still owe you one for last night's trouble, especially since you don't seem to be...
The concerned expression passes over her features as she spares another cursory glance over the table, back at the bottle, holding every small piece of what keeps the bad memories at bay. Blood blooming over Papa's heart, the horrified look on Mama's face as she watches them fall lifeless to the ground, and every ounce of spite seeping from the stranger's smile. You don't belong here. You monkeys don't belong here. Oh shit, I just realized what I read. That's a little... Okay, I was saying keep the politics out, but... And I kind of discounted what he was saying as some shit, but I mean, if that's what happened, you know, Shit, I feel like an asshole now. It never stops, does it?
Well, you don't seem to be feeling well.
Seriously though, now that I'm thinking about, you know, that's honestly making me feel like a bit of a dick, kind of judging him on that. But
Let me know, okay? I'll make it up to you somehow.
well, at least she didn't ask about the pills. She makes a slight gesture with her hand towards the bottle. Never mind. Asking a question without really asking. Subtly has never been one of her greatest assets, but right now, even Ash would have been a little amazed, if not at last for words, at least. She has left it up to me whether I give her a response she wants to hear or not. A little clever coming from her, if someone would ask me. I'm always for the fucking truth, unless it's something serious that I feel is definitely something that needs to be hidden for now, the time being. Something like that, you know. With something minor, truth is always, you know, truth is always the answer. But it's never easy, ain't it? Talking about my own problems, that is. It will never be, not by a long shot. Not when I've let her stay this long. I realized that long ago, when the wounds were still fresh and the dreams were a nightly occurrence. You can't force yourself to get better or move on to better things. It is what's normal now, and I can't cope. The question in her eyes may be unwarranted, born simply out of curiosity and sincere concern for a friend. I don't know her an explanation, in fact. But of all people I kept close in my life, she's probably one of the only very few who perhaps I can trust with this. Well, I mean, I trust Ash too, because, I mean, his job does require a lot of discretion, so, I mean, it's not like he's gonna be sitting there, like, gonna end up using that shit against you, but... Fucking yawning, god damn! Every time I try to record. Maybe she won't understand entirely. I can never hope she will. No. Never to the full extent. That alone is expecting too much of her. Giving too much of what and giving too much is what I can. However, for all her shortcomings, I know she'll hear me out. And that is all I can ask
My
for.
bad. I was kinda hoping you wouldn't have seen me with these.
The pills rattled lightly against the container when I gently set them back in their usual place. Always the small area closest to my laptop, near the right hand. Within reach whenever, and a quiet reminder of what I shouldn't miss every day.
What? Oh, is it bad? I was just thinking that maybe it's a cold like Becca's. Do you need me to get anything from the store? Soup or something? There's one nearby, right? I can run real quick and...
No, nothing of that sort. I'm perfectly healthy right now.
Yeah, physically. Not mentally, though.
It's really difficult to say, but can you promise me you'll listen at least?
You know, now that I think about it, I think a good assumption of what he has is probably PTSD. So.
What is this about, Zach?
I should have been upfront with you about this a long time ago. But Ashton found out without me telling him anything. But you already know how that guy is. Can't hide anything from him.
Well, okay, never mind. Ashton does know.
If it's something you're having trouble saying, you don't have to force yourself to tell me. I'll forget I ever saw anything and won't ask questions. Promise.
No, I need to get this off my chest eventually. Besides, we're already here. Might as well finish what I started, yeah?
If you say so.
She takes a seat on the couch, her posture easy and open, and her smile honest. As if this is just a simple talk between two friends on a regular day. About to find out it's definitely not. It is far from one, but her unreserved air is enough to stamp down the twinge of unease that threatens to come up.
Let's hear it then.
And she does. Oh, trophy. Feels like yesterday. One more check. That's not the right one. Yeah. You know, I actually have the feeling Ashton's is going to be a lot... Ashton is going to have a fuck ton longer than Zach's. I mean, he's probably going to be the pivotal character of the series, if I'm to assume correctly, considering he's the detective. As she does, true to her word, she listens while the story spills out of my mouth, of my ma and pa, that little old diner across the pond, and what it left in me that day. I can't recall most of it now, my own account jagged with a few missing details here and there. passing years have eroded most of my recollection of the whole incident. Oh, except for that one moment in the kitchen. The ringing of the gunshots are as vivid as it sounded that day. Even Ma's hysterical screams the moment Pa's body hit the floor motionless, his lifeblood flowing out from under him. And the gunman was just smiling. He was smiling when Pa opened the door to welcome him. He was smiling when he put that bullet into Pa's chest. And oh shit, he killed his mother too. I've heard stories of how the world can be a cruel place for people like us before. I never believed until that
Nan
moment.
and Gran took us right after that. Sis and I flew straight to New Jersey as soon as they heard the news.
You're honestly lucky you didn't get a bullet in your head. I mean, you were sitting right there and, well, witness and all.
A few days after, Ma and Pa were laid to rest, and we have a new home a continent away. I didn't even get the chance to take my favorite pillow with me. They said something about the change of environment will be good for us. They had no idea the different kind of ghosts would follow me here.
I expected questions, mostly those brimming with childlike curiosity, and maybe some that were a little hard to answer. But to her credit, she sat there, lent her ears, and looked at me with no expression or unnecessary judgment in her eyes. Why would someone judge you for experiencing something like that? Seriously. She appears wiser and older like this. Easier to see the breadwinner in her. Her young siblings are lucky to have her. When I'm done, after everything is said, she wraps her arms around me. A bit awkward considering the gap in our height, but it gets her sentiment across. And it's difficult to answer this in kind, if I'm even supposed to recuperate the gesture, given my earlier apprehensions. She pulls away shortly with a smile on her face. Not the reaction I braced myself for, but it is obviously better than what I imagined.
Are you not gonna say anything?
Am I supposed to say anything after? Like, apologize or something? I don't think that's very appropriate, but if you want to hear one, I can think of something real quick.
Not really. Other people have something to say after usually. And they're not necessarily nice either.
Well, fuck them. You went through something traumatic. Why the fuck would they be a dick about it? I mean, hell. It's not every day that a child sees their fucking parents shot.
Oh, okay then. I won't. I can't think of something anyway. Who else knows, by the way?
I should have finished that one.
Oh, okay then. I won't. I can't think of something anyway. Sorry, I'm not very good with this.
And who else knows?
My older sister, grandparents, and just Ash and you for now. Maybe I think I should tell Rebecca too, but...
I suppose she's trustworthy enough, but...
But not right now?
Yeah, not right now. When I'm ready. Like today.
I'm sure she'll be willing to hear you out once you do.
I don't doubt she will. I'm more afraid of how she'll react after. One step at a time, yeah? Whew. Surprisingly, it feels good to get that one out my chest. I was a little afraid you'd be angrier. I didn't tell you earlier than today.
I'm not angry. I'm just surprised. You didn't look like it. I wouldn't have suspected. I suppose that's how it often is, isn't it? We all have our... what's the word Becca uses? Inner demons?
That's not a word, it's a couple words.
But this is something personal to you. I understand why you'd rather have a few people know.
That too. Well, these past few weeks haven't been easy for you. I didn't want to add that.
Oh, shit.
That too. Well, these past few weeks haven't been easy for you. I didn't want to add that. Not after last night.
Something passes in her face, brief, fleeting, disappears before I can recognize what it is.
You okay?
Yep, no worries. I'll be fine.
You know, I have to wonder, Because Zach's already seen the ghost. If she was to tell him that she saw the ghost and then describe it to him, that might actually help a lot. I mean, from a story, like a character's point of view, but they're not, clearly.
Look, about last night. Never mind. This isn't a good time. But don't lose sleep over this, alright? What's important is you got what you want to say out. And if you need me, I'll be here.
I should be relieved. Her words are more than reassuring to my ears. There should be comfort in hearing those alone, in knowing I have another person to rely on if things ever go bad. But somehow, I find myself worrying more for her instead. I'll make another attempt to get the story out of her if I can. But this is a dance I know all too well, and with her, I doubt forcing her to say anything would yield any results. Well, at least not the results you're wanting. As much as I want to imitate Ash, there's only so much I can ask that won't result in something a little over disastrous. At best, she'll stop talking to me until a week passes. At worst, I'd rather not risk it. I've never seen her angry. Outright annoyed, maybe and often directed at Ash, but never furious. What do they say again about the happy people when angered? Well, I can... Oh man, if he can actually say... No, he's not going to say the quote. I fucking love that quote though. It's fucking funny and true as hell. Besides, it'd be unfair to her after our little chat.
So, food then?
She seems relieved at the brisk change of subject, and as if it's been simply waiting for its cue all this time, her stomach rumbles at the mention of food. Rather loudly, as a matter of fact.
Alrighty, Missy. We're going to get some chow now. Better be quick, though. Can't have your stomach starting a revolution on us here.
Don't make fun of me! I'm not that hungry! Maybe a little. I didn't think I'd end up skipping dinner last night.
Well, you skipped breakfast and what I'm assuming lunch, too, so you haven't eaten in a day.
And now we have one starved stomach protesting. Sorry, it'll be nothing fancy, since I'm a little low on stocks. I should probably drop by the grocery store after the meeting this afternoon.
I can make a quick run for you if you want.
Nah, I've got enough to put together something nice here. Maybe. I could always improvise if we're missing an ingredient or two. It ain't like we're going for a Michelin 3-star status here. Also, didn't I say you're a guest? Is this a Filipino thing? Or just Rebecca rubbing off on you?
The soft laughter that comes from her doesn't quite reach her eyes. Neither. The answer is neither. Because if she stays idle, she'll remember.
On second thought, I might need a little help slicing up the potatoes while I prep the ham.
I'm glad he recognized that.
You up for that?
What? Do you think instant noodles are all I'm about?
I've seen your apartment, yes.
I'll have you know, I can cook a mean paella with my eyes closed. All my siblings love it.
I don't know what that is.
Sure you can. Come on. I think I know what we'll do with those spare ingredients.
Despite the massive effort to keep the mood light with small chatter, cooking ends up being a mostly quiet affair. Between us, the consistent clapping of the knife against the board and the muffled noises from the television I left running, words have become surprisingly difficult to string together. Not entirely unusual. We've had moments like this before, but definitely unnerving with how things are now. I really wish someone else will come knocking at the door. As pleasant as this is, breaking the ice or keeping a conversation going has never been my forte. That has always been Isabella's or Rebecca's department. Sometimes Ash's, although most coming from him bordering awkward and embarrassing. Speaking of the guy, he never did call me back. And I'm willing to bet my entire year's salary that he fell right back to sleep after that call.
Sorry, Bella. Could you...
Yep, I got it. The potatoes are almost ready, by the way. I turned down the heat just in case. You might want to check on them, though. Hold on, I'll be right there.
She's gonna see the grudge bitch.
Sheesh, wait up. If you keep rapping at the door like that, you'll break it down. Ash.
Oh, good. You're awake.
Oh. Shit, I'm getting paranoid myself. I keep thinking the grudge bitch is gonna show up. Trying to eat our asses. Ash has already welcomed himself in when I take my eyes away from the oven. He's never been really keen on the notion of courtesies after he's warmed up to you. This guy. All 13 of my locks he broke can attest to that. You mean to tell me that he quite literally has broken into your fucking house 13 times? That sounds a little, criminal. He's a good fella, though. I don't doubt that, but, I mean, you don't just do that. It's kind of weird. Maybe a tad bit standoffish at first glance, but he's trustworthy.
Don't you have work today?
I could ask the same of you. Hey, Izzy, man.
You're late. Something came up? You need to drop the Z-Man. It's getting old.
Sorry, I got caught up with something at the precinct on the way here. Had to attend to that first before things got out of hand. I'd tell you about it, but you know how it can be with those kinds of things. Later, maybe.
And you're here because...
What? I'm not allowed to say hello?
I doubt you're here because of that. And you're not answering my question.
My bad. Forgot to mention that. He called earlier looking for you. Rebecca's worried because you didn't come home last night.
You could have called my cell instead.
You weren't picking up. Anyway, I'd really hate to cut this little get-together short, but I need to be somewhere else. Come on, Isabella, let's get you home. I'll drop you off on the way.
Wait, we're going now?
He lightly claps a hand on her arm and begins ushering her out the apartment, throwing a casual wave at me as they pass. Isabella, on the other hand, doesn't appear too fond of this idea. Frankly, I don't blame her. But sure enough, before they even cross the threshold, she puts a firm foot down, and the force alone is enough to halt them both and catch the taller man off guard. It would have made for a funny picture, the way Ash almost crashes into her and Isabella giving him an indignant pout over her shoulder. Surprise and confusion are on his face all at once, two things that rarely ever grace it if he can help it. A rare moment even for our small group. If only I could have had my camera with me. Dang.
What is it?
Zach cooked something.
If it's just food, I'll get you something on the way back.
But the food! It's Zach's cooking! Real delicious food that actually tastes like food. At least stay and have a bite. Please, Zach, help me here.
These two, whenever they're in the same room, sometimes it feels like herding a group of unruly kids instead of talking to two mature adults. One moment they're engaging in pleasant chit-chat, and the next they're bickering over a minor issue. Frankly, if I didn't know any better, I would have an overactive imagination. I'd say there was something going on. There is something going on. Never mind how utterly impossible the idea is. There's something going on. Or it might just be me reading too much into things like this. Always. It's something going on. I cannot say it enough. Something is already going on. And frankly, and this is going to be the surprising thing if I finish the game, if these two aren't together by the end of it, like, I'm not going to understand how that one happened, but probably because I got one of them killed. Kind of like I did with Hannah. I mean, I didn't kill her, but I definitely got her a little on the fucked side. I can already hear Ash's laughter if I so much as suggested such. This, however, I can take the hit.
It's okay. I know you're busy.
What? Are you Okay, you know what? No, I'm a little indignant on after that one. No, fuck you. You can eat my ass. Sat there fucking... Oh no, courtesies! Hey, if you want... I know you're busy. And then everyone fucking hates me. Like, what the hell? I hate that shit whenever
I don't
Mr.
know
Bubbles pull
about you
that.
two, but I think you guys should really stay. I've already made enough food for all of us. And it'd be a
Seriously.
waste.
Seriously, I fucking hate that bullshit, and that is the only time I will ever break my fucking rule of never going back, is whenever a game pulls that bullshit. Here's the thing. I only expected to take a hit on hers. I didn't expect to take a hit on both of them. And it would make sense that Isabella's would go down and Ashton's would go up. You know why? Because Ashton's the one that's wanting to fucking leave. I mean, come on. Why do I need to take a hit on both of them? Motherfuckers.
Why, I cooked up that special honey glazed ham you two keep on yapping about. Got some scalloped potatoes with onions and cheddar to go with it, too.
That wasn't an oven timer ding, but the oven timer dings. I shoot the two of them an apologetic look before sauntering over to the kitchen, mittens in hand. The sweet smell of the glaze and salty tang of melty cheese wafts through the air as soon as I open the door and take out the two trays inside. The scent immediately fills the entire room, and even with the door and windows open, the mouth-watering aroma lingers. It's appealing enough to make that when I put the dishes down on the counter, another starved stomach protests loudly before followed by a burst of laughter. My head snaps up at the two of them, and I can't keep back the smile and the sight they make. Isabella is clinging to the doorframe for support, doubled over in breathless laughter. Ash is a more composed of the two, trying to look unconcerned, but a flush has crept up his neck and cheeks. It's clear whose stomach it came from, and Isabella's not going to let him live it down.
You're in no place to reject an offer of free food, Frey.
I wasn't rejecting anything.
Bullshit, because whenever I tried to let you go, you got pissed at me.
Damn it, I just missed a meal, that's all.
Isabella's got it worse. She missed 3.
Aw, he's flustered.
Shut it! Those guys at the precinct said it was urgent. Somebody has to be responsible for it.
Well, aren't you precious?
Right. You know, if you keep laughing like that, you'll burst.
I'm sure it won't be as bad as your stomach suddenly rumbling like a starved.
Aye, kiddos, play nice. Food's gonna get cold if we keep this up. Ash, you gonna stay?
Might as well, since Scaredy Cat's so hell-bent on staying.
A hearty meal. As we eventually settle down after the food has been served, the jibes? Shit, fuck it. Jibes replaced by another round of friendly chatter, mostly about what's on the news the night before. There is, however, a conscious effect to avoid mentioning what's currently on the headlines. The dead is never a good topic to talk about over food and polite company. This case in particular, the wounds are too fresh too soon. I'd likely avoid it as well if I were in her position, and someone I personally knew passed away in a gruesome manner like that. Gruesome doesn't even begin to cover it because the amount of blood that was in that room tells me everything I need to know about what might have happened to her. Though perhaps the closest we got to broaching the topic is when the infamous mansion is brought up again. Why would you do that? That is part of the problem. And even then, we are careful, Ash and I, and keep the conversations light to avoid bringing up her late business partner. And it's the least we can
The
do.
Wrights? Yeah, they're planning to move in soon. In fact, they already have a housewarming party planned.
Okay, so this is before I ended up. Okay, so this is after Isabel's incident in the office, but before before Zack gets exposed to the grudge bitch. Which, okay, now let's take a step forward and go ahead and assume Ashton has... Okay, so from this point on, I'm going to go ahead and assume that the only people that haven't seen the ghost is Luke, Becca, Marianne, Rebecca, Ashton, and Luke. Which, now that I think about it, I see what they're doing. They're going down the list of the people who experience it from first to last. That makes sense, actually.
It's why they wanted us to rush the papers. They wanted to send the invitations out as soon as possible.
Oh, now I get it.
Get what?
Remember what I told you last night about the new clients?
Vaguely? Sorry. I was a little out of it yesterday. Was it the photo shoot?
Yep, it's actually for the one you sold. Ermite, something. When you put it that way, I suppose it makes sense why my boss wants me to prioritize the couple. They can have those documents rushed at just a snap of their fingers. Then they're more influential than I initially thought. Man, I guess my boss is expecting a lot more from this project than I expected. Hope I can live up to it.
Your photographs are more than good enough, Zach. You'd probably win an international award if you let yourself. Ma'am Hana's easy to please, too. As long as you're good at following instructions.
Easier said than done. Different clients have different tastes, after all.
Still, a week? I don't think that's possible.
It is.
Now that you mentioned it, yeah. They wanted everything finished at the earliest. To be honest, it's not unheard of, but...
But it's still weird.
Oh. Ash's detective senses are tingling. Almost like Luke has something he's hiding. Or was it Hannah? I don't know. He wasn't exactly too keen on getting the house, so maybe it was Hannah. Yeah, fuck it.
Still weird, yeah?
A slip of the tongue. Still barely noticeable to someone who is already familiar with Ash's ways, yet in this moment it's impossible to miss. I shoot him a curious glance, but he ignores it. Rather pointedly.
I can't exactly say it's like that, where I'm just the middleman after all. As much as I want to comment on it, I only know what's on the surface, not the in and outs. It's just that BRC and my boss are more hands-on with the legal stuff this time, despite having a separate department dedicated to it.
Maybe Mr. Wright helped with it too. They have their own legal team for this, don't they?
Yeah, they're probably very, corrupt too, now that I think about it. Because it's either going to be Luke being corrupt or Hannah's family having been corrupt. I don't know. Now that Ash had his, distinct feeling of, spider senses tingling, you know, it's gotta be one of them.
Well, they should have one. Especially for a big property like this.
They have, but like I said, it's off our hands. Rose and I don't handle this stuff in the office. If anything, to me, this just means I'll be able to send the rest of the funds to Papa's treatment earlier.
I guess that makes a whole lot of sense. Officially off our instant noodle diet, aren't we?
Ash, has anyone ever told you that you have an uncanny way of ruining the mood?
What? I was just saying. A few more months of stuffing your face with those, and I'm sure you'll start to look like a noodle cup. That's a pretty picture.
At least I don't live off convenience store food. Or make poor, unassuming pressure cookers explode.
He made a pressure cooker explode?
What? How did you... Oh, come on, Zach.
Sorry, it just came up while we were cooking earlier.
How do you blow up a pressure cooker?
I'm impressed, Ashton Frey. You even made it to the news.
That's not cool.
A one-time thing. And it wasn't as big as you seem to be imagining.
It was big enough to make it on the news.
Oh, sure. Let's all pretend that one time you almost set my apartment on fire didn't happen too.
Hey, that was an accident.
Ashton has a problem with cooking, doesn't he?
You were making a salad, Ash.
Oh shit. I just spilled my fucking drink. get on too much of my... I gotta listen to that again.
You were making a salad, Ash.
Now I have a very serious question. How do you burn the fucking apartment down when you're making a salad?
Can we please move on to a different topic?
It helps, the casual talk, the harmless teasing. The mundane story is interesting enough to let time pass unnoticed. By the time lunch ends, the shadows are no longer at forefront of my mind. If it's the same for Isabella, for whatever troubles her, I can never tell. These things, the anxiety, the fear, they ain't easily seen. They ain't easily forgotten, after all.
You go on ahead. I've got a few things I need to ask Zach. I'll be downstairs in a minute.
Confusion barely flashes in her eyes as she catches the keys he tossed her, but he doesn't give her an answer and waves her to go on
How
ahead.
sure are you I won't be driving away with your Shirley?
You don't even have a license. Do you even know how to?
Papa taught me how. I'm probably a better driver than you.
See, that's what I thought too. And then shit happened.
See you later, Zach. Thanks for the food.
Always has to have the last word, don't you?
You're welcome. I'll send you the recipe for the potatoes tonight.
A grin is back on her face whenever she leaves and closes the door behind her. For a little while after she's left alone, Ash goes wholly quiet, listening, waiting for her remaining footsteps in the hall to fade. The early amusement has gone from his face, replaced by what I can only describe as trepidation. A look I know all too well. And when he's like this, he's expecting shit to go down at some point soon. Well, I mean, I am too.
That wasn't very nice, Ash. What was that with Isabella earlier? You're usually subtler with your questions.
They hired you.
Hired me who? Don't change the subject yet. What's really going on here?
The Wrights. Luke and Hannah Wright. You said your next gig is with them.
Is that what this is all about?
Just be careful around them. You have no idea what you're dealing with when it comes to that couple. I'd rather you stay as far away from them as possible, but you're already here. Isabella's their real estate agent. Seriously, of all the people in Luxburn.
Okay. I guess I'll just have to take your word for it.
I get the idea that maybe he's investigating the rights. He nods, claps a comforting hand on my back, and turns to leave without another word. He's never been good at those. More often he fumbles with what he wants to say, and his actions alone are enough to tell me how grateful he is for the trust. He reaches for the knob as soon as he gets to the door, but doesn't turn it. Instead, he looks back and gestures for his head toward the table. I don't need to follow his line of sight to know what he's going to ask about. He likely taken notice the moment he enters the
You
room.
back on those? I haven't seen you taking them in a year.
Yeah, I kinda had to. It got worse after the film fest. The dreams, that is. I don't think I'll be doing that again anytime soon.
Heard about that. Don't drop it, though. You don't want Becca scolding you. She actually enjoyed the movie you made, and she's hard to please. Consider that a small victory.
You don't have to tell me. She already did. Rebecca and Bella both gave me an earful after I said the opposite. Promised them I wouldn't, but you can never tell. Hopefully, once I feel better, I'll be able to think about it properly. Speaking of Bella, she didn't open up to me, but maybe with you and Rebecca.
Yeah, I'll try. I can't promise anything, but I'll talk to her.
Thanks. That's all I'm asking.
This time, when he reaches the door, he lets it close fully behind him without glancing back. A mild draft sweeps into the room as I close the door behind him, slightly disturbing the papers on the nearby fridge. A lone note flutters by my feet, the letters on the surface glaring at me with muted intensity. Ermengarde Mansion, Hannah Wright, 11 a.m. for luxury living. After Ash's warnings, they all hold a different meaning now. Well, considering that Ash is, the next 2 days rush by in a blur, although leaving the collective mess of work suddenly piling up and the new unexpected acquaintances, or friends. Shit, what am I doing? You know what this is? This is probably... No. It's a long-ass fucking chapter, seriously. Despite how you look at it, really. Earlier, either way, I'm stuck developing those photos at 3 in the morning to reach a deadline set by an overeager art director. Don't get me wrong, Julius is good, has a vision, and knows what he wants, but damn, he can be too overenthusiastic.
Doesn't matter when you couldn't sleep anyway.
There's nothing new in it, of course. After years of working as a freelance photographer, it's simply something I've grown used to. Get to know people, build a client base, do good work, and cash in some late hours if need be. Rinse and repeat. It certainly takes a while to get some footing in this field, but it's the kind of thing that pays off in the long run, as long as you keep at it. Given some time, you might end up with big names on your client list, names like the Wrights in particular. I never did pay much attention to them, but it's virtually impossible not to hear about them. The local news channel or papers have something to say in their name. A party here, an acquisition there, something. Sometimes it's a news venture or a new business venture. Other times it's a everyday gossip that typically follows popular people like them. Not in a million years would I have imagined I would end up working for such high profile couple. And between that and the fuss that came with it, it leaves me no time to ponder over whatever happened to Isabella or why Ash is so adamant we keep away from the pair.
They do seem like the good folk, though, despite the whole fame thing.
Sure, there was a rumor running around years ago about him being involved in some business scandal. But just like every gossip blown out of proportion by the media, nothing came of it, and eventually it simply died down. I don't think this game is very up to date with how the news works nowadays, or how the world works, really. Of course, then again, this is a anime-themed horror novel, so fair enough. What have I been recording? An hour and 18. Okay. Much is definitely left to be said for her husband, but I doubt a woman like Miss Wright would pick him if he didn't have any good points at all. Miss Wright, Hannah herself, though, she ain't particularly bad the way the press makes her out to be. Tabloids had it all wrong, that's for sure. This is because I have a positive relationship with her, I'm sure. Check the relationship with everyone else. Yeah, with relationships with everyone is neutral and above the threshold of, For someone born with a silver spoon in her mouth, well, she ain't exactly what I was expecting. Among other things, the newfound friendship is what I least expected from her, but here we are. Although with a life as public as the Wrights, no wonder it's a woman who often gets the crappy end of the stick. I can't help but feel sorry for her. She's a real nice person when she's given the chance. Heck, she might even have ended up friends with Rebecca and Isabella, too, if they weren't living worlds apart. Probably. A beep quickly pulls me back before my thoughts travel any further. Up in in one practice motion, I carefully place the wet prints I'm holding on the drying rack and and amble over my makeshift darkroom to get the last photos from the water bath. Never understood what the water bath was for, but not gonna question it. It's a reason. Inside the converted broom closet, the film processor lets out another soft clack before going on standby mode. At its mouth, the lone photograph sits on the tray, barely visible with the lack of light. It's the last one tonight, and I see Miss Wright requested, or it's the one that Miss Wright requested. I don't usually make this a habit, giving away stuff, that is. It's bad for business, no matter how well-intentioned or generous you are. This exception, however... Shit, I got yet another. Oops, wrong one. Damn, it's kind of jumping all over the damn place here with the story. Kind of rushes through this. Please, oh please, let me get this one. I really want this storyline because this one, well, it doesn't really matter because either way it's going to skip me one way or the other. So I suppose it doesn't matter what I get. Alright. She did treat me well and was a pleasant companion all throughout the photo shoot. Even if she didn't ask, I probably would have given her a few prints just for the hell of it. Miss Wright ain't such a bad subject matter to begin with. Maybe this is just me, but for someone who has everything at the palm of her hands, all the money in the world, a loving husband, and a plenty big mansion to call home, she's lonely. She doesn't just appear like it. It shows in the tone of her voice how she moves, and most certainly in her smile, always hidden behind a glimmer for the world to never see. Sometimes the people like her, small things like these help. Small things like these helps. A little reminder that the world can be kind too. Water drips from the paper as I blindly pick it up and gently lay it on the other tray, holding a decent amount of photo flow. A few seconds under the solution is all it needs before it's ready for drying. No good rushing the last one out, even if my body's already screaming for some decent snooze. My hand fumbles over the light switch, moving toward it with familiarity, while I fish for a squeegee among the mess of tools in the drawer of one another. The bulb flickers twice before it glows, settles in, casts a soft light over the tiny space. Glance back down, squeegee in hand, ready to finish the process and finally call it
What
night.
on earth?
Her head is gone. Well, technically her head is there, but it's a little, word I'm looking for is contorted. Blurred and distorted beyond recognition, rather. Well, at least he went back and fixed his, words. The area completely smudged over, leaving no trace of the same sweet smile the good woman carried in all her previous prints.
Damn, that was too careless.
A common mistake to make, of course, if one is negligent enough to pick a newly processed photo in the dark, like I apparently did. It has happened before, loads of times, actually, but I still can't help but feel a small pang of frustration over one mistake a newbie would likely make. With a sigh, I reach for the switch again, intending to develop a new one from scratch.
It could pass off for one of those supernatural pictures they show on TV, though.
You're gonna say that, and then the grudge bitch is gonna show up is what's about to happen. The memory clicks, one cursory thought in the sea of many, and the short yet distinct sounds from the day before. Glimpse is all I got before I could burn but it was enough to burn the image in my mind. It was a shadow. Fucking hell, that's even creepier than whenever it was from Hannah's point of view. And look at that, her brain is kind of poking out right there. I actually tried pointing at it with my finger, but you can't see that. It's right there. And apparently it's fucking with the camera. No, a woman in her 20s or early 30s maybe, but with how far gone her flesh alone has become, it's not possible to tell at first glance. The skin itself has already taken a sickly pale color and rotted in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and leaves a lesion on her body. Bony hands grip Mrs. Wright's neck like a noose, straining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills that gleam in her eyes.
Zachary?
Not for me, but for Miss Wright.
Zach, is something the matter?
I'm thinking maybe the standard, event was for her to end up possessed regardless of what I do.
Oh no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something, that's all. Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
The memory alone is enough to make me retch. I brushed it off then, a trick of the eyes, I told myself, or a product of the heat. The weather has been unexpectedly warm recently, so it shouldn't be too surprising. Shouldn't be too surprising for such things to happen. And, well, blaming this on the usual fatigue, an overworked brain, and weather, or an amateur error on my part is far more convenient. It makes a whole lot of sense when the small voice inside my head whispers, the same tiny voice that makes itself known when something's afoul, the same one that lent a curious ear to Isabella's worries about the mansion. And with each second I spent staring at this photograph, the murmurs in my head only grow louder against my ears. Someone has to know. Okay. So, it's the 27th now. So, let's think about this. If it's the 27th and it's the day after the party, that would mean on the 26th. No, it's the 28th. It's the day before. It's the day before she gets possessed. So clearly, if I show it to Hannah, that's not going to make much difference. I show it to Ash, on the other hand, that's probably going to give me the same result as, the other one, having little to no effect. So anyway, I know what happens to Hannah. I know what Hannah's fate is regardless, so may as well go ahead with Ash. Well, it's the one I was kind of wanting to avoid, but fuck it. I'm going with Ash. Hannah's already... Oops, wrong one. Hannah's already fucked, so... That's sad to say, because I actually did kind of like Hannah. And to think I might have actually fucked up, and got her in a very bad position is not exactly a fun thought. Especially considering I was wanting to get everyone out alive and unharmed. I can already hear what he's... oops, shit. I didn't even read that. Ash is gonna give me flack for this. Ash will give me flack for this. He will. I can already hear what he's gonna say the moment I bring it up. Hell, before he even sees anything, I'll wager. The guy is a skeptic through and through, and it'll take more than my account for him to even consider this. But when you've been there, seen something enough to raise the hairs on the back of your neck and leave you wanting to flee and hide, when he thinks is the least of my what he thinks is the least of my concern. I am no hero. That is a title best reserved for someone else. It sounds like the polar opposite of my personality, but still, if this will help him change his mind, it's worth a try. Wow, it's completely... Okay, I say his is the longest. It seems like his is going to be the fucking shortest. Because it's going by so fast, and I've only been recording an hour and 30 minutes. So... And I'm already... say about a quarter into his story. Isabella's gone and done the same thing, didn't she? Outside, the sun has yet to rise. I've still got a few hours before dawn, good enough time to mull over how I'm going to go about this with him. Plenty of space to check if I'll get the same result if I redo the process again. The same processor hums back to life at my touch. The light switch gives out a soft click, and darkness embraces the small closet again.
Somehow those urban legends don't sound so silly now.
Yeah, that scary shit starts getting to you after a while. Sometimes I wish Ash would make himself easier to find. 24 messages, 13 phone calls, and one visit to his flat later, I still have no idea which rock in Luxembourg he went off and hid under again. Guy has his own place, but he refuses to stay in it. He has his own phone, but it doesn't matter how many of his calls, or give any indication he's gotten any messages. Most of the time, he'll just show up in my front door. Sometimes in the middle of the night, complaining how uncomfortable it is to sleep in the back of... Surely, I dropped my mouse. His car. I've slept in a car before. It's not all that uncomfortable. I mean, don't get me wrong, neck pains and shit, but find a good position, it's not too bad. As if the old couch in my flat was any better. To be fair, couch is better than the car, but I'm rambling. Nothing new from him, though, but a bit frustrating, really. Yawning! Stop it! There is the precinct, of course. Then again, he's not there most of the time either. And if that's also true for today, he's likely out on another stakeout. There's nothing much for me to do but to wait if that's the
Let's
case.
just hope I'm lucky enough today.
Luxembourg Police Department. Shit. Looks like I'm gonna miss Ash. That's what I'm pretty sure this is gonna be. While Luxembourg, in the relatively peaceful city, boasts a low crime rate, its precincts stays abuzz with activity. As soon as I open the glass front doors, murmurs coming from the people waiting in the lobby welcomes me. Officers can occasionally be seen shuffling in and out of rooms, greeting civilians with casual smiles and polite nods. Some, though, look a little worse for wear, like their receptionist, who looked at me with much disdain the moment I arrived. Thankfully, I won't have to deal with him today, before I can even step in, Ash's voice, though low, comes from the hallway adjacent to
Not
the
even
lobby.
for just 1 minute?
No. The case was dismissed, remember?
You were the one handling that case.
If you want access to those records, you've got to ask Chief. I was taken off it before shit went to hell. Why do you even bother? Even Professor Clark seems to have given up on that.
Well, Never mind, you won't understand.
Right. I know you owe Professor Clark a lot, but the right guy isn't just someone you mess with.
Yeah, it looks like Ashton's got a particular bone to pick with the Wrights.
They've got the money. Who knows what else gets swept under the rug with them involved.
That takes a special kind of ignorant not to know.
And a smart person to know which boundaries he can't cross. You're a bright guy, you'll figure it out. In any case, I've got to get going. Another missing person case on my hand. Benjamin on the front desk looks like he's about to maul someone after the fourth one yesterday. Murders, people missing, what a time to be alive. Man, I miss the old Luxburn.
You and me both. I'll see ya. Gonna go grab some lunch.
He notices me first as soon as he enters the lobby and pauses. Confusion briefly crosses his face until I fish out my phone from my pocket and wave him up. Frowning, he pulls out his own mobile phone, wordlessly fiddling with it for a few seconds before sighing heavily. There ain't any annoyance in him when he glances up, though. Only mild exasperation and what might be a hint of amusement.
Stop taking pointers from Isabella. This is gonna get old soon.
Well, then you should stop the Z-Man
At
shit.
least use your phone properly.
It's an alarm clock, a good note-taking device, a halfway decent camera, and maybe a music player too. If I'm being nice.
Well, shit, that's literally everything I use my phone for.
What else do I need it for?
I don't know, keeping in contact maybe?
That is another thing I use my phone for. When he merely shrugs, I know I've struck a chord. He's far from holding a piece of technology in contempt, of course. Ash has always been nothing but practical from the start, and technology is useful. Only when he gets too focused on one thing like a case he's handling, he tends to forget there are other things around him. A little reminder and a nudge in the right direction can only get him a long way.
I've got an email on that social media site the girls roped us into joining.
That doesn't make any sense. Also, you've got an account before any of us had one.
For policing purposes?
Why the hell do you need a...
Anyway, why are you here? I thought you have something scheduled today.
That was yesterday.
Anyway, why are you here? I thought you have something scheduled today. Or was that yesterday?
Look, about that, there's something I want you to see.
He stops me with the tap of the shoulder, walks past me straight to the door, and gestures with his hands toward their very irked receptionist when I raise an eyebrow. and
Over
question.
lunch. I haven't eaten anything since last night, and Benjamin there doesn't really like loiterers around here.
Wordlessly, I follow him around, but not after sending the poor guy behind the table an apologetic smile. Well, shit, this might... Apparently, I will get to talk to Ashton. What are these other two routes? That's my question. As expected, he takes a seat from the furthest corner in the cafe, a good way from the window, but easily allows a view of who's coming and going. I do the same damn thing when I sit the fuck down in the cafe. I don't know why, it's just something I like to do. Secluded enough to not be disturbed by the lunch hour rush or be overheard by any curious bystanders. If I didn't know this was lunch he invited me to, I would automatically assume I got dragged into another stakeout. After years of knowing him, though, this has simply become one of the many habits he has gotten. Damn it. This is one of the many habits he has I've gotten used to. Food arrives minutes later. A slice of their vegetarian quiche, whatever that is. Meanwhile, Ashton is off for a cup of coffee, plus a gracious serving.
You having cake for lunch?
He shrugs and then proceeds to dig in without even a hint of remorse. Frankly, it's like seeing a child get his Christmas present early.
Don't tell Becca. I'll get an earful. It's just for today.
You should listen to her, though. The kind of work you do, you'll need to eat something other than sweets. I don't want to see you drop dead in front of my apartment again.
I told you, just this once. Have you been hanging out with Becca lately? You're beginning to sound like her.
Nah, just for some recipes. But she has the right to worry, you know? It's like she's taking care of two kids. One bitches on sweets, while the other on cup noodles. At least Bella knows how to cook.
Hey, I can at least boil something. Wait, that's easy, right? I mean, you just put water in and...
You just put the water in, turn the stove on, and you wait until it starts to bubble.
No, don't even think about it. You destroyed your own kitchen once by sticking a pressure cooker on it. I think my sister is a whole lot better than you. And this is coming from someone who has no other choice but to eat her cooking for some time.
To be fair, he genuinely appeared offended at the last remark. Hate will be a too strong a word to describe how Sis and him usually interact whenever they're in the same room. Though, whatever appropriate word it is, I can say the most is certainly that the feeling's mutual for both. Ash thinks she's nagging too much, while Sis thinks he's a trouble magnet and I should stay away from him. To be fair, his job would probably require him to be a trouble magnet. They're both technically right in their assessments, yeah.
How's your sister, by the way? Still bullying white guys?
Oh god, no. Please don't. What should I say? The one that gets me out of this fucking conversation.
You do know she's married to one now.
That is the only way I can get the fuck out of that conversation. I don't want to have that one. It's not something. Not on this channel.
I hope she doesn't end up poisoning him with her cooking.
Pot calling the kettle black?
She can't be better than me.
Actually, she is now. They're planning to start a restaurant sometime in the future.
I was bedridden for days after eating some of the stuff she whipped up. And now you're letting her cook for other people?
Don't exaggerate. It was just for one day, and you're the one who refused to leave your apartment. You should come by, though. Sis gave birth a few days ago. Girl, I've only seen the pictures. But I might visit sometime after everything's settled down. Too many backlogs to go through for now.
No way in hell. She'll just find something to criticize again. Last time, it was Shirley.
He makes a show of getting utterly mortified, though I'm quite sure he doesn't mean any of that. He might not say it straight out, but I'm pretty sure he enjoys the small visits whenever he can. Though, something about it reminds him of his own family, sort of like making up for the one he never got back when his parents separated. Sore spot in that topic, one thing he never ever brings up in any conversation, if he can help it. And I've never seen the need to be nosy. There is some wounds you're just not meant to open, and for the both of us, the sentiment goes the same way.
As if you ain't already on a shit list. You're just afraid of her.
In your dreams. But I'll think about it. Can't just drop this thing at the moment.
His change in tone is subtle, but his aggravation over the matter hangs completely palpable in the air.
Still no closer?
The opposite, actually. There's been some slip-ups here and there. Careless mistakes, and let's just say I'm waiting for him to make another one. What about you? How are things on your end?
All piled up on top of the other. But I can manage. Still recovering from the expenses for the movie, so the surge in new projects helps. Well, there's this one thing.
The expression on his face grows more puzzled with each photo I spread on the table. There's about 8 of them. All of it reprints the same thing. Mrs. Wright's distorted head in the photos. He takes a minute to go through each, eyeing the prints warily, and furrows his brow. Doesn't ease even as he gathers all of it in one pile and sets them in a neat stack in front of me with a heavy finger.
Hannah Wright?
Yeah. How did you...
The locket. She never takes it off.
She fucking did at the end of her line.
Evan's family heirloom.
She fucking took it off by the end of her story. Which this, honestly, gives me even more concern that I completely fucked her. I won't even think about asking why or how he knows that. There's probably no reason to ask. I mean, he's probably got files on her. And Evan. And Luke. If he's investigating them, he'll have already dug up every unimaginable dirt on them, including family history. That's what I just said.
Are you done with your work with them?
Wrong one. Okay. So either way, I guess you do meet up with Ash, and that leads to this conversation here. But that also puts me halfway through the damn story by the time I get... Yeah. This line here would be halfway. Yeah, fair. I was close enough.
Yesterday, yeah. It's just a small feature from a magazine. Interviews, photos, standard stuff, nothing big. But see, here's the thing. I don't know how else to put this out there without sounding crazy, but there really is something odd with that place. Remember the letter?
He drags in his breath, reaching up his nose and pinches it, like the action alone will help grant him all the patience in the world to continue this conversation.
Please tell me this isn't about that again.
No, Ash, you've got to listen this time.
I am listening, and I can't believe that just came out of your mouth. These are some blurred out photos, and that letter is just a stupid prank. I expected this from Isabella, not you. You're the photographer here. I don't see any need to get worked up over this.
I know what you mean, but will you hear me out first?
Ash leans back in his seat and doesn't say anything further. That's normally taken as a sign of, okay, I'll listen and then I'll tell you just how fucking stupid you are. I've had that done to me a couple times. He gestures me to continue with a wave of his hand, impatience clearly on his face. Any other person telling him this, and he'll walk out without batting an eye. Yeah. I suppose the only reason he's giving me the benefit of the doubt is because we know
Ash,
each other.
I don't easily buy into these things as much as you do. Yesterday, though, behind Hana.
He blinks at that, his eyebrows lifting momentarily before settling in the deep
Hana? Since when were you on a first name basis with the right missus?
Why does that even matter?
I thought you said this was just a gig.
His voice stays level, but the accusation of it is clear as day. It hits a nerve on me, somehow, more than the tone usually does. I do get where he's coming from, but it's really just a gig. Well, I mean, it really is. And I'm not gonna push that one. Patience can be a tough thing to summon sometimes. But we did get this far as friends if we let our tempers be the lords of us. I don't know, me and Devin have a pretty healthy relationship, and me and him yell at each other all the damn time.
Bro, it's really just another freelance work.
He asks me skeptically the same stares he reserves for people he interrogates. I've been on the receiving end of it before, early in our friendship. Years later, he's already got the unimpressed police look down pat.
And there's nothing going on with me and Miss Hana. She was just being friendly. Insisted I call her by her first name. That's all.
I wasn't implying any of that. You're not that sort of guy.
I know, but let's just get that out of the way. The just-in-case elephant in the room scenario, aight? She's a married woman, Jesus!
Not with the image she presents in public.
No, but trust me, she ain't any of the things the tabloid writes about her.
Like I read any of those.
I know you don't, but keep it in mind, will you?
Will do. Though I can't promise she'll get off scot-free if she's involved. Man, with how you're acting, it feels like I'm doing a solid for your girlfriend.
Cut that out, will you? And I'm not asking you to. Besides, what's currently going on here is more important.
Alright, lay it in.
Recount everything takes the better half of our lunch, and he manages to listen through the entire thing without a snide comment. A feat in itself, actually. At the end of it, Ash merely nods, takes out his phone, and excuses himself. Off to the corner of the cafe for some privacy, if you can even afford such a thing in a public place like this. He returns a little while and hands me a small card.
I can't stop you if you're willing to believe in this crap. Give this guy a call. You're better off talking to him than me. He's at the public library now if you want to catch him there. He used to be my professor back in the university.
Oh, no, I don't think that's...
Go on, I already gave him a heads up.
Wow, that's kind of a dick move. You didn't give the guy any notice?
You know I can't help you out, man.
That's about what I was expecting. Yep. This is gonna get out of hand in a hurry come this part, I'm sure. He gives my arm a tap and walks off, mumbling about something, checking about something back at the... Oh, fucking hell. Oh. I don't see his face when he leaves, but I know no. He gives my arm a tap and walks off, mumbling about checking back how things are at the precinct. I don't see his face when he leaves, but I know this is his little way, his own little way of helping out, despite what he doesn't voice out. Of all the places it never crossed my mind I'll end up wandering into the public library today, considering I rarely visited. Somehow there was always been this kind of disconnect between me and books in general. So he's not a big reader. Sure, some of them held my attention in my youth during the brief times in the day I was left to my own with nothing to do. I went through the whole of Grant's collection, as a matter of fact. All of them twice or thrice even. But they never did hold it for long. Most of it never even sticked. Especially after I learned it's simply easier to do things myself if I want to learn stuff. This ain't in the plan in the first place. But after Ashton went through the trouble of contacting Professor, I can't just ignore it. Nothing but quiet greets me inside though. Not the typical mum one would associate with the library, but one akin to the hush prior of to an impending trouble. But perhaps I'm overthinking again. I really like to think that I'm just thinking too much about this, that this is just the lack of sleep talking. Regardless, a part of the group of students murmuring in the corner somewhere, the place is free of the usual visitors. All while my footsteps echo in a manner unsettling enough to raise the hairs on the back of my neck. Much to my relief, it doesn't take me long to find him, being the only occupant on this side of the room. Professor Andrew Clark. I've never personally met the man, but Ash has spoken highly of him several times. In fact, he's Ash's go-to guy when something is troubling him with the case. My steps are unsure as I approach. At any rate, he greets me with a warm smile, like a grandson he hasn't seen in a long time.
Ashton's friend, I take it. Zachary. You'll have to forgive this old man if I don't get your name right.
Oh, no, you got it. It's Zach. Zachary Steele, Professor Clark.
He gestures at the empty seat across the table while he returns to his book. Next couple of minutes passes in relative silence as he continues to read and take notes from the pile he's accumulated on the table. Maybe I should have taken a book first before heading here. But before I can even get far into that idea, the professor clicks the book shut and sets it atop the stack next to him. He's probably like me and just feels the need to finish a chapter before he gets into a conversation.
Ashton told me you were hoping to get answers from me. Although I'm not quite sure what I could share, I'll do my best to help.
Of course, there's a lot of things I wanted to ask, but how do we get out of this mess? How do we get out of this mess in the first among hundreds of concerns in my head? But in the presence of someone I barely know, the thought won't easily form. He is nothing but patient, however, and with enough time to mull over, the question
Do you
finally
believe in the
forms.
paranormal, Professor?
It's supernatural, actually. Don't worry. It's a common mistake to make. But they really are two different things. The other one deals with what we can't explain at the moment, while the other are things we may not have an explanation to.
supernatural or paranormal. I don't know.
Here.
No, well, shit. I guess he was actually trying to read up on it, considering Isabella's case, or maybe this is just something common for him. He places a couple papers in front of me, the very same one the very same one he was writing on earlier. A study of Luxembourg's supernatural culture, in a nutshell.
A friend of mine wrote that a few years ago. He took interest in the city after reading about the stories. I have to agree with him here. Even stories dealing with things you don't see with the naked eye can be rife with culture, and this city thrives on it. Just ask the locals.
Like ghosts, for example.
Among other things. The interpretation has changed over the years, though. Various religions, for example, have their own version. It could be a memory, or an imprint, an echo, so to speak. Some are born from curses, even, out of great anger, hatred, or pain.
Well, if I'm willing to bet this curse, it's probably born out of great anger, or hatred, or pain, or all three. And if it's all three, we're probably all fucked, because those are three things that tend to stick around.
There was this one story. Ah, here it is.
Another book is pulled out of the stack and placed open atop the papers, while he speaks with such a passion that makes me wonder if part of him believes these are true. It is interesting, though, even if I'm personally not a fan of such stories. And soon, hours pass without my notice.
In the end, it asked for something to be sacrificed in order to destroy whatever anchors the wraith. A sad tale, that one, but the simplest grudge can bring the ugliest, even in the kindest person, with some people none the wiser. Oh, I'm sorry, I just went on.
Nah, it's good. Are you familiar with the Ermengarde Mansion, though?
Of course, that goes without saying. Who hasn't heard of the local legend?
Well, I mean...
In fact, you aren't the first one to ask me about that recently.
Yep, this is because of Isabella. I went to the wrong one. Yep. Because I made a... Okay, I see what this is. This is for, things that I did with other characters, and I'm assuming... I have to assume this is either going to be from something I didn't do as Isabella, or something with Hannah.
Although, word of the mouth is, someone has already bought it.
Ah, yeah. The right couple. It was a close friend who handled that sale.
So I heard. Well, don't think the house being bought by anyone would stop us from talking about it. What is it about the mansion, then?
I just want to ask what you think of it, sir.
We're going to need more than an afternoon for that, young man. You see, it's the kind that has changed over the years, passed down from one person to the next. Sometimes, it's the Lord William who haunts the place. There are versions where it's the lady of the house.
Well, the truth is, the lady of the house was the one that did it.
But my favorite, a personal favorite, would have to be the ones that followed after the disappearance of the kind daughter.
Or maybe it's the daughter, I don't know. It's female, so we can go ahead and write off William, and I suppose 20 and early 30s. Most likely the daughter, in that case.
Well, what about these then?
There's a moment of hesitation on my part before I pull out Miss Wright's photos and lay them all in front of him. Unlike Ash, though, the professor inspects each print with greater interest. Gives me some hope, at least.
When were these taken?
Need some advice, Prof?
Just the other day. Do you think those are the same?
Perhaps. Perhaps not. There were certainly instances when the film would pick up what the human eyes weren't able to see. But then, it could also have been human error.
I didn't edit it in any way. You have my word on that, Professor. They all just came out like that.
Then, if it is what you're thinking, I'd strongly advise against doing something reckless and further tangling with them. Accounts about them may be riveting to you, but most of it often ends in an unpleasant manner.
Unpleasant. Yeah. Unpleasant. That has to be death. That has to be an ending where Zack dies. There's no way I can comprehend that not being the case. And honestly, I hope to God I don't end up doing that. And sad to say, if I end up with that, there's no way for me to go back. Because I did that to myself. It's not going to be like I failed a quick time and I reloaded, or I, made a fucking stupid choice that I just didn't agree with because, bullshit consequences. Like Ashton Isabel's, like, what the hell is that clicking? I don't know. Fuck it. I done lost my train of thought.
What about those people in the house? If there is something in there, shouldn't they know? I'm sure they're already familiar with the legends, but...
Some people might deserve it, however.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Deserve what, sir?
All of a sudden, the tenderness in the professor's eyes disappears, his face becoming unreadable. As though catching himself, he hastily clears his throat, gathering his books, and rises from his
Professor?
seat.
I'm sorry. I just remembered something I neglected to do.
My spidey sense is tingling. And I'm thinking, you're full of shit.
You'll have to excuse me, Zachary.
Alright. Do you need any help with that?
Don't let my looks fool you, son. I can still carry a few hundreds. I've been doing this for years. I'll see you some other time if you have any other questions.
Of course. It was nice knowing you, Professor.
He doesn't hear it, however. In a few short strides, he's out of the library, leaving me with every piece of a whole mess amidst a oppressive stillness. Despite the answers gleaned, more questions surfaced. If there is even a single way out of this, I hope we find it soon. Honestly, after Hannah's route, I doubt there's a way for me to unfuck the situation. The moon is well into the night sky by the time I make it into bed, or back into bed. Fucking hang on. Make it back home. My heavy treads and the sound of traffic outside echoing my ears, filling the empty room with some semblance of life. Nana would scold me if she ever hears me walk like that, but after today, I really can't give a damn about everything. The mattress creaks under my weight as I unceremoniously flop onto it. And I find myself looking at the paper under my grip. An invitation and a request to cover the event, or an event, the Wrights' housewarming party, tomorrow evening. And if it were that easy, if only it were that easy, but it'll give me a chance to talk to her about that thing in their house. With a sigh, I let my hands fall to my side of the bed. I let my hands fall to the side of the bed along with the invitation. I'll think about it tomorrow, when my head isn't muddled with thoughts of a headless woman, and the haunting smiles of a ghost. Belatedly, it occurs to me that my last meal I ate was the one with Ashton, and an empty, gnawing ache makes itself known, but I can't bring myself to stand up. Today was a complete waste of time, and frankly a disappointment. I don't like this. The lack of certainty, disquiet, the lack of stable ground to stand on, the part where I do not know what will come tomorrow. Ever since that damn letter, everything's been thrown out of the loop. I wish everything stayed the same. Routine would have been easier to make sense than this. Closing my eyes, I let the noise of the streets below lull me to sleep. At the very least, that's the one thing that hasn't changed. Here's the fucking-ing. The melody carries into the hall long before I cross the threshold. Solemn but gentle and soothing, a reminder of what home is. Pa's firm but meaningful gaze, Ma's wistful smiles, the warm rays filtering through the eaves at sunset, The distinct smell of wet earth and leaves, along with the long day's rain in our room. The room. Ma and Pa's pride and joy. A place where we go. A place where we were promised several springs ago. Yet it won't
No,
stop.
wait! Come back! I'll be good this time! Please don't leave! Please stay!
The floorboards creak. The floorboards are cold under my feet. More than usually is. The walls more foreboding than what I'm used to. Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases, and Pa... I can't hear Pa. Not above the ruckus clang, the raucous clanging of the deafening roar of gunshots, nor the screams replacing the comforting, soft melodies. There's only the blinding fear, and when the light breaks, her skin has already taken a sickly pale color, rotten in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and lesson on her body. Bony hands grip Hannah's neck like a noose, straining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in her eyes. A scream ripples through the air. My whole body feels distant, every limb heavy from lead. I'm unable to move at will. Not even as I wipe my forehead with beads of sweat forming in my temple, or at my temple. The rasping of my breath easily fills the room in the wee hours, while I force it back into a steady rhythm. There's a tightness in my chest that I can't stave off, my heart pounding against it as if it was about to burst out. Something cold has settled at my legs. Not the usual chill that comes and goes with the passing breeze of the windows, but one strong enough to sting, shackle, and leave a frigid sensation creeping on my skin. With every struggle I make, the pressure winds firmly on my legs, tighter and tighter and tighter, all until it's too much. My heart stops. Another draft sweeps from the room and brings... Shit, hang on. Another draft sweeps into the room and brings with it an iron tang of blood, thick, suffocating, filling my nose with the foul, sickening smell as I shift my gaze downwards as it slowly comes into view. I don't want to see it. Oh, fuck that. Nightly visits. Mouth stretched into a hideous smile and the eyes brimming with nothing but madness. The stench of gore taints the air around me and I can't look away. From it, her, from the terror and death that her uncanny, twisted features alone scream. I try to open my mouth to shout, to ask for any help, but my voice has left my body altogether. All I have is a painful realization that no kind of plea will ever save me from her. And suddenly the bed dips. Ah, no, stop it! Oh my god, the moment she started moving, I just had that instinct to try to punch something. Seriously. I literally reeled my fucking hand back to punch something, and then I remembered if I punch the bitch in the face, I'm gonna smash my fucking computer screen. Oh my god. This game scares me too much, seriously. And that's actually pretty damn cool, considering it's a visual novel and it's actually getting these reactions out of me, whereas a AAA game, like Evil Within, or, Evil Within barely even got a fucking reaction out of me whenever I played it, but this was only $10, whereas I got Evil Within for $60 and played it and didn't get scared once, despite that being the reason I bought it. I bought this for $10 and it's started scaring the shit out of me immediately. And it's a visual novel. You couldn't be any further from the actual AAA horror game if they wanted to. That's the fucking awesome thing about this. The brutal plunge back into myself jerks me awake. There is no ear-splitting scream, no wild thrashing of limbs, just a painful, constricting awareness of something has wound itself tightly around my neck. I waste no second pulling it, a blanket, away, but allow myself a few moments to steady my breathing before getting off the bed. Inhale, hold, exhale. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. But the dream has gotten worse. Ever since 2 days ago, no longer are they the small, curious flashes of what I'm used to, but vivid ones that linger. I can still feel the blood in my hands, the putrid smell of rotting flesh, the sickening crunch of bones breaking with every movement, and her cold, chilling eyes that bore into me. I draw in one long, ragged breath, and before I know it, I'm walking out the door. Even the waking world, it reeks. The bench on the park is far from the most private place for thoughts in Luxembourg, considering its location is in the heart of a bustling city. But in the early hours of the morning, it provides enough peace and quiet for any poor problematic soul who happens to wander here. The city is just waking up, a little later than usual, but knowing what day it is, one can't fault it being a little tardy just this once. Yet neither the pleasant morning chill nor the soft twittering of birds does anything to banish the images. Every single one has rooted in my head, its claws digging deep in what is no longer a safe place to hide in.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down.
It used to be so easy, finding some pretense of peace under the guise of sheer optimism, following regular routine. Now I don't know what to make of it. Sometimes, okay, that is throwing me the fuck off.
Falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady.
I'll turn it back on in a second. Sometimes it's easier to run, easier to hide than when everything is falling apart. That way, you don't have to be the first to witness it when it does. It worked when things went bad with the movies, after all. It also worked when Ma and Pa were taken from us. Maybe it really is better if I just...
Hey, mister!
Hello, mister! I need that achievement to move so I can... Okay. Real quickly. And no sub-event either. A tiny voice gives me pause. When I look up, a little girl, maybe about 6 or 7, is peering at me. 2 wide eyes overflown with what I can only be the natural curiosity one typically sees in children. A vague note of Saint Goretti uniform she's wearing before turning her greetings.
Hey, kid.
Kylie.
Kylie?
That's my name. Mama said it's rude not to call people by their names.
She then flops down into empty space beside me. Her little legs still too short to touch the ground, swinging to fucking hell. Drop my mouse again. Every time I adjust. That's the problem with the laptop. You gotta whenever you have a tray, you just gotta, every time you readjust, you end up dropping something. Her little legs still too short to touch the ground, swinging in tune with the song she hums under her breath. I don't mind kids. Nana would often invite the ones in our neighborhood to give them treats. Of course, by then, Sis and I were too old to play with them. But you get used to the commotion eventually. It's not completely as unpleasant as some people would imply. Kylie seems to be a well-behaved kid anyway.
Oh, sorry. Nice to meet you, Kylie. Is Mama here?
No, but my big brother's with me. He's taking pictures with his camera over there.
She points to the far end of the park, The one closest to the street where where a kid is taking shots of something above him. It doesn't look like birds because all that's there is the side of the park is
I don't
buildings.
see what's so interesting with the tip of a building, though. I'd take pictures of dogs if I were him. They're cuter. Do you have a camera too, mister?
Yeah, I'm actually a photographer.
Mama said I'm too young to get a camera.
Well, it doesn't matter if I could get a camera or not. I couldn't fucking afford it, so.
I'm sure your mama will eventually give you one. But won't you be late for school like this?
Big Brother will get us there on time. Rowan promised Papa. We aren't going to be late. It's sports day. So it's not good if you keep looking like that today. If it ends up raining and we lose, it's your fault.
Alright, I'll try not to upset the clouds today, kid.
Is it because you're sick, mister?
Before I know it, a smile is spread all over my face. They say kids ask tough questions sometimes. And they sure do. With how sincere Kylie looks, lying feels like doing her a huge disservice.
No, not sick. Just having a very, very bad day.
Why is that? Is that like when my big brother ate all of my pudding? He did that once and then cried. It wasn't very nice of him.
Yeah, I think so. You see, there's this mean girl. She's given my friends and I a lot of trouble. Hard to keep up when things are like that, you know? Especially when you can't do anything. It's kind of scary. Makes you wish things will just stay as peaceful as they used to be.
At least he's sugarcoating it.
Maybe she just wants to be friends with you?
Or maybe she wants to eat my ass, but... I know I've been pressing that joke a little too hard with the ass eating, but it fits. I mean, seriously, with her mouth open every time you see her, looks like she's getting ready to do something else, but I keep it somewhat tame. Munching on the ass instead of... Yeah, I'm not gonna pull a Hodge twins on you.
I highly doubt that.
The way you sit there, it's not I highly doubt that.
She already hurt one of my friends.
Killed another.
What if she's just sad? Or maybe she just wants help. That's what happened with Melody. I let her borrow my crayon when she left hers. Now we're playmates.
It's not really the same thing, Kylie. What she did, they're pretty bad things.
I still think there's another reason.
Well, I don't see how there's any excuse for gutting someone. Y'all, early in the video, I said with how Rose's room looked with all the blood, there was only one thing I could think of that would have her bleeding enough for someone to paint the room like that. And, well, cutting her open and bleeding her is what I was getting at. And the way you bleed something is you gut it. Like that hunting deer.
Did you try talking to her? That's what Mama said I should do.
I don't think that'll work either.
Unless I'm willing to get my face chewed off.
You haven't even tried yet. You sound like Rowan.
If I try, I'll probably be dead within the 2 seconds of trying.
You're just scared, mister.
She's like the Grudge bitch. You ever seen the fucking Ring movies? That's what she looks like. That strikes a chord. Maybe it's the honesty in her tone, or simply the truth of the words itself. Don't know why, but I can't help it. I laugh. Loud enough to disturb an elderly couple taking a leisurely walk
Why
nearby.
are you laughing?
That's nothing. You're a really smart kid, you know that?
That's the end of my drink. That's what I've been doing. That's what I've been doing, ain't it? Go full speed ahead and then backtrack when the going gets tough. Stay in my safe zone because that's what I know. Once Dr. Navarro said that I should be the first one willing to deal with my problems before anyone else. I didn't show up for our next appointment after that, but he's right. And though I hate to admit it, knowing what I've seen, but the kid makes a good point too. I've been so caught up thinking there might not be a way out. Maybe there isn't, or maybe there is, but it doesn't mean I should just leave it up to fate. Aren't spirits supposed to be humans before too? Subtree, or sub-event. Had people they cared about lived a life of their own, smiled and laughed like the rest of us do? Do they really lose all of it after death?
You better get to school, though, or you'll miss sports day. You should have won yourself some awards, alright?
Alright! Can I show it to you when I do? That can cheer people up, right?
In the distance, her brother calls for her, and I took that as a sign. To leave. Got things to do, to face. The first steps, as they say.
Nah, I'm good now, I think. Thanks to you. Besides, Mister needs to go. But you should show it to Mama and Papa. I'm sure they'll be proud of you, Kylie.
I will! Thanks, mister! Bye!
Give her a little pat on the head before heading my. I give her a little pat on the head before heading my way. A small gesture of thanks from a stranger she didn't know she might have just helped. She may not understand now, even though at such a young age she already has this understanding of things. But maybe when she's older, when the world no longer seems too big
But
for her.
aren't you going to help me, mister?
With what?
Confused, I glanced back. Oh, god damn it. It bees the grudge, bitch! That got me. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you got me. Apologies, I'm getting a drink. Whatever cheer our little talk brought has vanished under the shadows. Something suddenly dancing in my eyes. Grudge, bitch. The frigid air is most definitely not how the morning chill should feel like. Bitter, stinging, unwelcoming. And the kid.
What do you think, mister? Are you going to help me?
No, bitch.
What do you want from us?
It doesn't matter which one I end up taking. Their response never comes, however, because when I blinked,
Hello? Mister? Are you okay?
for several passing seconds, my stare lingers on her face, waiting for any sign of another change. All that remains there is the carefree smile of a child. None of the spite, none of the cold, bloody smile.
Nothing, huh? I really need to go, Kylie. It was nice meeting you.
See you again, mister!
I break into a run. I don't look back, even as I bump into a couple of passerbys as soon as I'm out of the busy streets, going insane. This is what it is. And if we don't do something soon, we all will be. The tremors follow me even as I get home. I had hoped for a little stroll around the block would help me. Around the block for a few hours would help. Instead, I'm assaulted with more images of her smile, her loathing in her eyes, the stench of gore, the horrid crunch of what comes with every movement she makes. With old memories, even old memories have been sullied by her. My song no longer sounds as sweet as it's meant to be. In the end, all I got is a sickening feeling. I will never be rid of her image, and another ridiculous idea that may or may not even work. The sun is already hanging low on the horizon when I make it back. And for the first time, coming home feels like a chore. Only I didn't arrive to an empty room. Because as soon as I'm opening the door, I'm greeted by none other
Sup,
than...
Z-Man?
Yeah, the moment he said that, I figured it was going to be Ash.
I told you we should have called him before going here.
Oh, Isabella's here too?
It's fine.
Motherfucker, it's not fun. You keep breaking into my house, man. It is Ashton I see first, sitting comfortably on my couch, munching on a bag of chips with both feet propped up on my coffee table. I'd have knocked the fuck out of him. It's my fucking coffee table. Only I can do that. Whatever proverbial stone has made a home in the pit of my stomach automatically flies right out the window at the sight of him. But before any expression can be set, my attention is taken by another occupant in the room. Isabella perches on the other chair in the room, attempting to make herself smaller, it seems, with how closely she hugs her arms against her. Nevertheless, she gives me a small smile when she notices my stare. Yet somehow, there ain't any warmth in it like it's supposed to
Hey,
have.
Zach. Sorry we just barged in here. Ash was.
Relax. Z-Man gave me a copy of the key himself.
Probably to keep you from busting another fucking lock.
Only after you broke the 13th
say?
one. I can't keep replacing them every time you think it'd be a good idea to break into my apartment.
That's what I just said. No, I think I'm going to keep going even though I'm well into I'm 2 hours and 25 minutes. Might as well go ahead and say 26 minutes. And I'm still wanting to go. So, I got my work cut out for me. Fuck it, let's go.
And stop calling me Z-Man!
I didn't break anything this time.
Ash, just because I gave you a key doesn't mean...
Shit.
Hey, is that my... Ash, just because I gave you a key doesn't mean you can just stroll in here whenever you want to.
Ash smirks at me because, of course, he has the gall to smirk knowing what he did. He pops in what very little likely is the last piece of chip into his mouth and folds the wrapper neatly on the table before throwing it on the trash can. From her chair, Isabella shoots an apologetic smile as soon as the foil hits the waste bin in a dull thunk. Common sense dictates I should be angry, but after having everything normal play out in front of me, no matter how childish their antics can get, I can't bring myself to muster even a tidbit of it. Behind me, the television starts blaring the music in the end credits of a movie. They had likely been waiting for a while if Ash has gotten impatient enough to rummage through my cupboards and watch
Of course
something.
he eats all of it. You know, I was saving that for the weekend. Did you at least share some with Bella?
Don't worry about it. I'm good, Zach.
Really? It's free food, you know. What was that you usually say? You don't say no to free food.
You don't say no to food in general. I mean, that's kind of what I learned.
What happened?
No, I'm just not hungry.
I wonder if she's had a run-in with the grudge bitch ever since, last time. Ash only shrugs at the question within my eyes. I can't be the only one who finds the vibe she's given off to be odd, and the guy is no doubt already caught wind of it.
Aye. But if you want something, just say so. I've got a fully restocked pantry right here at your disposal. Still not a 5-star level thing, but for an empty stomach, it'd do. Just say the word.
Thanks, Zach. Maybe next time. Food is not really what we came here for.
Is it to talk about the grudge bitch? Please tell me it's to talk about the grudge bitch. I really want them to actually finally get some fucking progress with the grudge bitch. That way I don't have to worry about, getting fucked. I mean, seriously, I don't know why they find it so hard to just kind of... It's like, Zach's already been exposed to it. Before then, he would have been skeptical. But, I mean, just... I don't know. I can't really blame them for not talking about it, but it still annoys the shit out of me that they haven't brought it up to each other. Like, you've been seeing anything weird? Okay.
Ash, he's the one who...
Why are you stuttering? She casts a brief glance at Ash, and in an instant he sets up. Every trace of amusement is gone from his face as he claps his hands in front of him and leans forward. A minuscule gesture meant to ease, yet the grim expression on him tells a different story
All
altogether.
right, you two, what's this about? I don't like those looks. What I said was weird. I'm aware of that.
Oops, wrong one. Well, this could have just... I suppose this is a sub-event of sorts. Okay.
But I'm not taking it back. Isabella's not the only one here who's seen it.
What? Wait, whoa, time the fuck out. A short but tense pause follows. They're both stalling. Under normal circumstances, I'd wait. With these two, the more you force it, the more they clamp down on it. And as a handful of seconds continue to slip by, the unsettling feeling in me also grows with it. Soon it turns to impatience. Before I can demand a response, though, one of them finally speaks up. It is Ashton who first breaks it. I suppose that would have been Isabella if it was that one, but yeah.
I'm not asking you to. No, you're right. There really are some odd things going on here lately.
How is everything with you lately, Zach?
I've been seeing the grudge bitch in my sleep. I don't think that's normal. Especially whenever she's between my legs. It looks like she's doing something completely different, and honestly, whenever she starts trying to crawl up my fucking ass, you know, trying to get at me, that honestly scared the shit out of me, and honestly, I kinda don't want to play this game no more after that, but the story's too good to pass up. Let's go.
Hold on, Ash. Both of you. Did I just hear you say that? Is this why Isabella's here? Has something happened?
Good, they're answering my question now.
Calm down, we're just here to check on things. So, did you meet Andrew about the photos?
What photographs?
Said photographs have been sitting untouched since the day I dumped them in my drawer. Isabella goes very still when I hand her the small stack. To her credit, she doesn't flinch like I was expecting her to and flips through each of it in silence. But while her eyes remain strangely calm, her hands have gone rigid and her mouth is set in a very thin line. She, out of all people, understands what this means. That Hannah is fucked, which honestly, again, doesn't put my mind at ease. In hindsight, she shouldn't have been the one I approached before Ash.
What did Andrew say about them?
It could be one, but there's no guarantee it's a supernatural thing. It doesn't always happen. So, that's a dead end right there. Now that I think about it, bothering that guy for this feels pretty silly now. But with the dreams lately...
That's all? Did he say anything about the damn letter at all?
We didn't show him the fucking letter.
Did you ask him even?
I pause, glancing at him skeptically. I don't know where all this sudden curiosity is coming from. He's probably seen it. But if Ashton, calm, cool, and collected, always logical Ashton, takes interest in this, something or someone must have fucked shit up somewhere, or the world is ending. Seconds pass. The apocalypse I'm expecting to go along with is the apocalypse I'm expecting to go along with it. Grammar. Go along with it doesn't arrive, however. Sorry, punctuation. And cut the it.
Yeah, that's really everything. The letter kind of slipped my mind. The photos were more important at that time.
We don't even have the letter. And honestly, I don't think it would be a good idea to show him the letter. You know, obvious reasons and whatnot.
There was some stuff about the local horror stories, though. Talked about the curses, and he was really fascinated with the story about a wraith asking for a sacrifice to move on. Kinda nasty if you ask me, but it does make sense if you simply go along with it. I'm not sure how this will help in the grand scheme of things.
I hope my headphones isn't picking up the fan because I had to turn that on.
Why are you asking about this anyway?
Rose's death isn't just a coincidence, Zach.
Well, I'm glad she's speaking up about that.
It may have something to do with... I may have...
Wait. Stop right there for a sec, Bella. I thought you ain't buying this stuff, Ash. Just the other day, you said the exact same thing.
I still don't, but even Rebecca, out of all people, claims there's something.
Okay, so never mind. He hasn't been exposed, but Rebecca has. And I suppose 3 of the 4 friends have already seen something. So Ash, I suppose I suppose he can't just say, fuck it, it's nothing.
Whatever this is, someone has got to look into it. Everything about this screams shady.
So, everything about this screams fucked up,
Are
actually.
you sure you even have the time? Ain't you busy with your current case?
I got taken off that one.
You didn't say you were taken off your case.
I just got the news this morning. Apparently, the higher ups think I'm doing a horrendous job at it. It doesn't matter, though. If these 2 cases are connected like I initially thought, then regardless, I'm on the right track.
Are you sure we should even be doing this?
Doing what exactly?
There's someplace we'll visit after this.
Too vague for comfort, Ash.
It's not really vague when you think about it. We're going to the Armengard.
And please don't tell me you're bringing her with you.
His affirmation comes in the form of a stare, but that alone says all I need to know. What I pointed out gives him pause, though, and his voice is thick with hesitation when he addresses Isabella.
You know what? Zach's right, Isabella. You don't have to come with me.
Fuck that. She's coming with us. She's been exposed to the ghost a lot longer than we have, and on top of that, she has probably more knowledge about how this fucking thing functions, considering that she's the only one who has actually successfully hid and escaped it when it came after her. So, no, she's coming with us, if I have a choice in that. And it looks like I might. That's all I can say about that, is if I have my choice, she's coming with us. Ashton might not like it, Isabella might not like it, but that's just how that's gonna go.
It's not myself I'm worried about. It's you.
Maybe she's gonna agree with me.
I'll just do this myself, if it'll get you into more trouble with your superiors. At least I can make up an excuse why I need to be there.
Don't be ridiculous. You're not walking in there without me. Besides, I think it's a little too late to back out now.
On top of that, he probably has a gun. In fact, I can probably attest that he does have a gun, because A, he's a cop. 2, whenever I was buying it, I did actually take a look at the art, and he did have a gun, so pretty telling that he has a gun.
Have you 2 seen the news this morning?
I haven't, actually. Mama called, and I was busy.
What happened? The change in the air around her, while small, cannot have gone unnoticed, and it takes every willpower not to ask. Well, probably the only thing reigning in my curiosity is the fact that Ash himself hasn't brought it up either.
No problem. It should be in the afternoon news as well.
Ah, shit. That one's not as bad as Rose's apartment, but that amount of blood that had at least, I don't know, did something grievous to him before burning him. He grabs the remote and cycles through the numerous channels until he gets the news report about another guy who had been found dead in the early hours of the morning today. Burned alive this time. Yeah, I've seen that happen to someone before. It's not pleasant. That's something I don't want to talk about. Oddly, no fire has spread, and whatever damage has been contained within the place, the body was found. The room itself, however, has been completely vandalized. Now that you mention it, if the blood stains were, or if the blood was written before the flames, it would have taken. If I recall correctly, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway. Blood's a liquid, so I would assume that it would, dry up, and then because it was dry and it was on the paint, and the paint would be burning, the blood would come off. I mean, it would obviously leave some trace behind, but it wouldn't look like that. I don't think it would, at least. On top of that, why does everyone... Oh, wait a minute. Another victim by the Ansel Butcher. I don't know. Let's just go. Help me. Help me. Help me. Another murder, the authorities claimed. Isabella and I knew better. None of us shift even after the report ends and the room is suddenly felt shifting or stifling. Ashton's eyes have gone hooded in what appears to be restrained anger, and the remote in his hand creaks mildly under his grip. Stone is back in my stomach, a tiny little thing gripping at my insides, growing with every passing second as the dread sinks in. In the thick of it, Isabella's voice is the one that breaks the hush. A small, weak thing of its own that wavers unevenly between words, but every syllable heavy with meaning.
This is because of that thing, isn't it? I did this somehow.
No, you didn't expose the letter to any of these people. What I have to assume, though, is that, I don't know, maybe people took the trip up to the house up to Ermengarde and came across the letter and just have managed to evade getting fucked up until that point or another. I mean, I don't know what could have happened with Rose. I mean, I don't know. But I don't think I will know. I don't think I'm going to get an answer to that. When it fades, all that's left in the air is her doubt and fear, while all we can do is cope. Is there something I can say to make her feel better?
It ain't too late. We can still fix this. There's 3 of us here. 4 if you count Rebecca.
No, she's staying away from this.
It's not really going to be much use if that thing's after her. She lifts a gaze at me, eyes steady and shoulders squared as she holds it against a baffled look I give her. Although in the next second it immediately softens and it takes me by surprise, nevertheless. In those brief moments, it's like I faced a different person.
I don't want to involve her in this any more than I already have. Both of you as well.
Well, we've already all been exposed to the shit. I mean, honestly, I think the best course of action would be for all of us to get together and then, stay together. I mean, thinking about it like that, we'd have a pretty good chance of helping each other and fending that bitch off if she was to come after. But I don't know. They're not. I'm thinking in a fucking militaristic mindset, but yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. Well, shit, that was my mouse. Well, fuck me sideways. That is why you don't fuck, and that's why you don't fucking move. Like, you don't put this shit in your lap while you're fucking doing shit, and then you move. I don't know how many times I've done that shit. At least I can hit the fucking space bar.
I already said it. That's completely out of the question. Stop asking.
Again, I would say no, it's not. Now I've done lost the fucking cover. God damn it.
Still in all, that's 2 extra heads who can do the thinking. Between us 3, I'm sure we'll figure something out pretty soon.
Provided we don't get killed. Which, honestly, is a pretty good assumption of what might happen. Oh my god, I really did lose the fucking case for battery. Well, I'll be goddamned. Oh wait, there it is. I'm so sorry.
Don't make this whole thing sound like it's a piece of cake to deal with.
Alright. At least my mouth still works. Kinda. Feels kinda loose.
It ain't. But better than sitting around, yeah? Plan is still a plan.
You're going to shoot yourself in the foot one day with that kind of thinking. We don't even know who's doing this.
I got a pretty good idea, Ash.
The last 2 murders might just be similar incidents done by 2 different suspects.
Oh, copycat murders and all. Yeah, but that's not all too common, is it?
Hasn't stopped you from going after them before. Remember that time when you...
Okay, stop right there. There will be no retelling of that incident today, Z-Man. Or ever.
Keep calling me Z-Man and maybe I will.
Suddenly, Isabella laughs. Though muffled by her hands and rings lightly and easily against the thick tension in the room. Still a far cry from the usual cheer she carries. Learn my lesson, throw my mouse on the bed. Well, situate myself. Still a far cry from the usual cheer she carries, but being a welcome shift in otherwise dreary mood. I gotta untangle myself. Shit.
Thanks, you
A little
two.
blunder. That was a hell of a fucking blunder. Lesson learned, moving a little further away from the fucking edge.
I'll tell you about it when he's not around.
Give it up, Z-Man. She's not interested.
Fuck, she is.
Who says I'm not?
Ash makes a face, but chuckles at the jest despite himself.
Why am I even friends with you two?
Oops. And like this, most of our worries ebb away, if only for a few moments. Oops. Shit. But regardless of the lighter mood, little has been said of our plans, only vague hints of what they're aiming to do after. While it ain't any of my business to know, something I have about the whole thing still gnaws at me. A tiny passing thought urges me to do something as well. At this hour, the streets are once again busy with people heading home after a hard day's work. Little of the bustling matters to them, and they step out in the crowded walkway. However, Ash especially, there's only his goal in his mind, and I'd wager there's nothing I can do to stop him at this point. He's probably decided it long before they made the decision to drop by. And despite this, Isabella lags behind. A worried crease in the bow is back on her forehead, and as she watches Ash leave to get in his car.
Something wrong, Bella?
No, Actually, can you check on Becca for me after this? I really didn't get the chance to tell her where I'm headed off to. Tell her I'm okay, and No, just that.
You sure I should skip on that part? If she finds out about this, she'll be angry. I don't really want to deal with angry Rebecca. It gives me a stomachache just thinking about it.
Neither do I, but I'll handle it if she gets mad. Just make sure she's safe and tell her to be careful. You too. Take care of yourself.
Almost abruptly she pauses, her gaze and her eyes hardening as she lapses into another one of those long, distant silences from earlier. This ain't just about because of the fiasco with the letter anymore.
I don't want what happened to Rose to happen to you guys as well.
Well, that's probably going to be unavoidable with what we're probably about to go do. Shit's gonna hit the fan in a second. This one cuts deeper. Before I can ask about it, Ashton returns, casually swinging his car keys in one hand and gestures at Isabella.
Come on, we don't have much time. Shirley's waiting.
Who's sure? Oh, right. Don't answer that. I don't want to hear it, you huge dork.
Says the person who gave her stuffed toys names. Batcat? Really?
It's cute. Yours is just weird.
Well, I mean, it's a normal thing to name a stuffed animal. I mean, childish, but understandable. Naming your car? Not so much.
I'll see you later, Zach.
She spares me another smile, and as I watch her walk off, only now did it occur to me that none of these guys none of those she's gave me today ever did reach my ears. Never did reach my eyes. I made a grab at the back of Ash's parka. He staggers briefly before correcting himself and shooting me a
Is
confused
she
stare.
alright?
What? Who's okay?
Isabella. She's been, I don't know, out of it today? Did something happen earlier?
The scowl on his face says it all.
She's actually been like that this morning. I'll ask, but
Just do me a favor and watch over her. We have no idea what we're dealing with. I don't know what happened to her since the last time I saw her, but from how she's been doing today, whatever it is, seems like a pretty big deal.
Almost like we're skipping to the end of the game, really. I don't even recall rightly what day this is. Actually, yeah, I do, the 29th. And if they're going, and this is after this, but before this, you can only tell me that shit's gonna hit the fan on the 30th.
Wait, you didn't annoy her again, did you? Because I swear to God, if you did, you've got another thing coming for you.
what? No. Why would I? Just so you know, I already apologized for the one at the movie house.
Wrong one. Sub-event. Because the shit at the movie house. Yeah, I'm guessing that's with Becca. Shit's gonna hit the fan. I was right. Shit's gonna hit the fan.
Granted, she deserved more of an apology, but I meant it that time.
I'm just asking. I'll take your word for it. But if you can find out what's bothering her, that'd be nice. Honestly, I don't think it's the letter this time.
I think it is. Well, I think it's the thing that's coming after her because of the letter.
I'll see what I can do.
Make sure you keep yourself out of harm's way, alright?
Yes, please take care of yourself, because otherwise Isabella's gonna end up having to go all Claire Redfield on us.
Yeah, you too. Don't do anything reckless again.
Oh, I'll make sure to put myself in the most precarious situation possible.
Reckless, no. But I can't make you to promise I won't do anything. After seeing that, there's no way in hell I'm going to pretend there ain't a problem when there is. This is a really big one, and I'll be damned if I let anything happen to you guys while I sit here. I'm done running when things get tough.
He's about to argue for a moment, but
Look, bro, if things ain't good, I'll be the first one out. But allow me this one thing, alright? Just this one time.
well, fuck, man. Fuck that. I'd be the last one out. The way I see it, everyone else's life is more important than mine.
If it doesn't work out, you'll be the first one to know. You can laugh then, or berate me all you want.
I mean, as morbid as that sounds, that's just the way I see it. Put everyone else in front of me.
But please don't ask me to step aside like I'm incapable of doing anything to help.
I have no idea if it's the look in his, on his face or the tone of my voice. Ultimately, through his mouth, although his mouth pressed in a thin line, he nodded.
Alright, stay safe, Zach.
29th. Yep. Put a page between that. Upon returning to his apartment, Zachary was greeted by Ashton and Isabella, now suspicious of what was happening. Ashton informed Zach that he and Isabella will try to get to the bottom of this. He also warned Zach to be careful. Yeah, well, honestly, I agree with Zach's, I agree with Zach. No promises. When he stumbles onto the sidewalk and allows the afternoon crowd to swallow him whole, I like to think the tiny gleam in his eye and the closest we get to optimism in this situation. Whether that alone will be enough to give me peace to sleep tonight remains to be said. If I can get sleep tonight. That's not eternal. Yep. 30th. Shit hits the fan. Night falls. And despite my best attempts, sleep continues to elude me. And with her image still stuck in my head, flashing every few moments, it catches me off guard. Mama's lullaby, still echoing in my ears, no longer the soft tune it once was. And the terrible gnawing in the pit of my stomach. No wonder I can't bring myself to drift off even for a little while. It's not as if there's a complete lack of things to do while waiting for sleep to come, if it ever will. and a quarter to 3 in the morning, I find myself cleaning my photography equipment with no other reason than just to pass time. Story updated. I wonder what this one is a choice of. If I'm gonna be honest, it is not the night terrors that are keeping me wide awake at tonight. It's the anxiety and the hope I'll hear from Ash and Isabella soon. And the unspoken one is if at all. And for what's perhaps the 42nd time, my eyes shift over to the end of the table where my phone lies still. I've not heard from them since they left. They haven't promised to call, of course, but a small part of me wishes that they would have the common sense at the very least. Waiting is a tough game, and with concern stretching out the minutes far longer than usual, it's impossible for more unpleasant thoughts not to enter my mind. Moreover, it doesn't help that when the clock finally strikes 3, my hand's still. Goddamn, I actually had to adjust my computer, and that was creepy as hell. Yeah, shit hits the fan. It would be a complete and utter lie to say my heart didn't leap straight to my throat for a brief second. My whole body had gone motionless, ears straining for any further sounds. Oh, I can hear further sounds, buddy. A couple of tense seconds pass. Nothing. Of course, with how old the building I stay in, and with how old the building I'm staying in, power fluctuations ain't anything new. Every now and then it would happen, leaving a few tenants in a rather bad mood. Nothing unusual any more than after a few years of living there. But this time the sudden hush, bright with it, bringing with it a stillness that races the hair in the back of my neck, set my heart be pounding against my chest. Something reeks in the air, and for an instant the place is no longer home. It's a prison. Every rational fiber of my being screams for me to leave. I force myself to swallow and keep a clear head as I lay down all my cleaning tools and begin gathering together the rest of the things scattered about the table. My camera's body, lens, filters, diffusers, phone, anything my hand could touch I put but in a resultant panic like in the nightmares, it's the scent that reaches me first. A foul, putrid smell filling my lungs with the very stink of death. My fingers clamp tightly on the camera, holding it closer to my body, as if the tiny thing would provide enough protection for whatever is with me in this room. It won't. But it's the only comfort I have. Sub-event. I was actually hoping I'd get it. Shit. And knowing that whatever she is, she had once been human, perhaps not all of it is gone. Perhaps some of it is still
Hello?
there.
I know you're in here. What do you want?
Something moves behind me, soft scuttling over the walls, followed by a squelch of painful creaking of what can only be rotten flesh and broken bones. Without hesitation, I whirl around, my fingers on the camera, ready, patiently waiting for another movement.
I can help you. Whatever it is that keeps you here, I can help.
Wrong one. Shit's about to... Oh, fucking hell.
That's what the letter's for, ain't it? You don't have to keep taking people's lives.
Silence? There's a brief moment of silence after, in a short while, I think my pleas worked. Then, with no warning, the shuffling resumes, and along with it, there are sobs of a woman. Nope, I'm not doing that. Fuck you. You can suck my ass. I'm not pulling that shit. I'm not pulling a fatal frame in this bitch. God damn it.
I can help. That's what the letter. You don't have to.
God damn it. Oh shit! Found it. It was right there. You have to listen to the. You have to listen with the earbuds. God damn. I did it right. God, I feel physically sick after that one. That scared the shit out of me. Yep, here we go. I didn't fuck it up. The light flashes fleetingly one last time, allowing me a glimpse of her grotesque, misshapen features before it is once again lost in the darkness. All of a sudden, her tune changes, no longer a soft cry, but a high-pitched shriek brimming with pain, grief, and anger. Every ounce of courage I muster flees from my body at the sound, and the next thing I know, my hand is gripping the knob and I'm wrenching the door open. Fucking run. Her wails follow me as I flee into the night. It's probably best that he got the fuck out of there when he did. God damn, I can feel my fucking heart just beating through my goddamn chest. Seriously, that scared the ever-living shit out of me, even though I expected it. Pacing has always been more of Ashton's thing than mine. When I want to think, I sit down and let the minutes tick by until I have an idea, or until an idea comes to mind or my pulse settles down. And yet dried leaves and twigs crack under my shoes as I make another pass at them. Terror is too mild to describe it what this is. There's no way in hell I'm going back. Whatever she is, pleading won't work. The moment we saw that letter, she was after
But I
us.
can't run. Not this time.
Nearly 2 hours have gone since I left the comfort of my home room, and this for the solitude of the park. 2 excruciating hours since I've started making calls. No one answering. Not even Rebecca, who's always kept her phone line open in case other people need her. Or Isabella, who frequently checks hers for any messages, ready to respond as soon as she can afford to. Wrong one. Shit. It does not help that Ash hasn't said a word where they went off to as well.
Damn it! I knew I should have asked him before I let him leave.
If you use your fucking skull, you'd know where they went. Knowing him, he could be anywhere. But there's only really one place he'll likely be at this time. Congratulations. You used your brain. Yeah, and I'm getting dangerously close to that. The sad thing is I gotta take a piss. I'm afraid that I'm gonna get jump scared and I'm gonna piss myself. I have no idea what I'm expecting to see when I go in there. There's Ashton, first and foremost. A part of me wishes my assumptions are correct and he's really somewhere close by on a steakhouse. But I've never been the lucky sort when it comes to that kind of guessing. And even after I've made my rounds in the immediate vicinity, I couldn't find neither hide nor hair of him. Calling him does no good either, considering how awful the signal is here. He can't be too far away. He can't be too far if he's really here. But if he is, he would have already noticed me by now. Instead, there's only silence, the kind too quiet for any sort of comfort. Even the trees seem to have fallen asleep with the rest of the mansion, oblivious of what's happening around it. And the small island of stillness and the otherwise fast-paced world. No wonder the whole of Anselm feels at odds with the rest of Luxembourg. While the city is alive, growing every minute, breathing every second, and pulsating life, the village remains unmoving, unchanged. It's not surprising the legends still live up to this day, and why she's still here, walking its hollowed walls. And beyond me, the mansion looms ominously. But now ain't the time for fear. Even if Ash isn't here, I still got to let the Wrights know what I've seen, what's in their home. And whatever grievance Ash has with them doesn't matter. There might be grounds for imprisonment, but they don't deserve a brutal death at the hands of one malicious spirit. I'm sure Isabella would do the same thing. Keep hitting me fucking hard. I head straight for the door without a second thought. It takes a few rings and the sound loud above the foreboding stillness before I hear footsteps on the other side.
Damn it! Only a Nazi would knock at such an ungodly hour. Where's that damn butler when I need him?
Before long, the door swings widely open, and Mr. Luke Wright stands behind it. Seething would be a complete understatement to describe him, considering he's actually pulsating with a dark aura. Yeah, I can only assume that is Ghost Bitch's influence over him, actually. Like this, I've got no doubt why Ash would find him a suspect.
You? How the hell did you get in here?
God damn it, wrong one. Yeah, this isn't gonna end well.
What in seven hells do you want?
Game of Thrones reference?
It's bloody 6 in the morning!
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, it's not a good time! Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't!
I bet you I did.
Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep. Come back when people are actually awake, or I'll call security on you.
Before I can get another word in, he slams the door in my face and bolts it shut.
Wait, sir, you gotta hear me out. You're both in danger if you stay in there. Have you seen the news lately? Everything's not a coincidence.
Only silence answers me. Maybe if was Miss Wright. Oh, who am I kidding? There are limits to how far a person would believe you. Then again, I didn't believe Isabella when she warned us. And now I'm here, desperately trying to save people, even if I'm aware it's completely out of my capacity to do so. Is this what they call karma? If so, this is one horrible way of turning things around. Taking people's lives, playing with people's fears, making them feel useless.
You're around, ain't you? You here? Inside this house? Listening, watching, or whatever it is that you spirits do? What did they do to you?
I wonder if he's still trying to help her. By the way, I'm just steadily inching close to this. And I get the feeling that honestly, I have the feeling that I'm going to avoid this, but at the same hand, the closer it gets, the more tense I get about it.
I can help you, you know? If it'll let you move on, I'll gladly do so. You don't have to kill anyone.
Nothing. I don't even know who I'm talking to, or if a sane person is supposed to be doing that. The only thing I got after a feeling of foolishness washes over me. Or perhaps this is just me losing my mind. Out of the other options or any other ideas, I let my hand slide off the door surface and fall listlessly at my sides. I can go back to Luxembourg, try to find the others, try to get out of this mess with them. Or let them know just how deep and shit we all are. Both sounds good. Either way, my loitering here won't help at all. Let the quietness calm me for a few more minutes before standing up and heading out to fetch my bike. It's quite a distance for Luxembourg, but if I hurry, I'll be able to reach it. And the rustling stops as soon as I turn around and strain my ears for any movement around.
Yo, Ash, you there?
No answer. If he was there, and I've just missed him earlier, you're fucking up. Already my feet are moving in search of him in the moment for a second time. It won't hurt to double check, triple check even. With how big this property is, he could be anywhere. I can promise you it is not Ash or Isabella. If things ain't so urgent, if they ain't so dire that lives are at stake, I'd probably have just waited for him to show up
But
again.
damn it! He needs to realize what exactly it is he's dealing with.
I hope you have that damn photo of the bitch that is not just a petty criminal he can simply throw in jail, that it's that is something beyond the authority the police badge can even give him. Could ever give him. The guy needs to stop playing the big damn hero, sit down and chill. My breathing comes short, shallow, and raspy by the time I make it back to where I started. Still no sign of him, and I begin to think that I'm wasting my time here. But that's when I hear it. I'd recognize that melody in a heartbeat. Mom's favorite song. And while I listen for a while, trying to gauge where exactly in the house it's coming from, my feet start to moving before I can stop them. And there in the circle of the corner, from the floor, from a room on the first floor, a single window is open, but I can't make out whoever's inside. However, I make sure the singing comes. I'm sure the singing's coming from there. Still, why I'll hear the old tune here of all places, I don't know. It's not an obscure song, by all means, but it's pretty rare to find someone who knows this. And for some reason, death seems to follow that song around. Panic lodges itself in the base of my throat at once. Whoever's humming might be. I don't want to be a pessimist now, but on the off chance that it's Miss Right.
Shit.
More like fuck. I shouldn't just barge in like this. I can put myself in danger before I can save anyone. Ash will tell me in those exact words. Might even write me a dysentery. Fucking hell, what is that word? Dissertation. Why this is a bad idea if he ain't so lazy. But damn it, god damn it. Fuck. Alright, let's think about this. I go in there, I'm a dead man. There's no way to fighting this bitch, at least not yet. And on top of that, I'm alone, and I already know what happened to Hannah. Luke ain't gonna fucking help me. I'll just end up being another one of those disappearances if I walk into that fucking room. But on the same hand, I want to help Hannah, and honestly, going through the window is the only option I have of doing that. But, previously aforementioned, good chance I walk in there and I'm going to die. So, I don't know. Of course, my wallet's out of fucking reach. I would coin toss this bitch if I could. Shit. Alright, let's use logic then. As I already said, enter the window and most likely die, or fuck it. Mind your own business. Well, just from that trophy, I already know this is gonna be... You're a fucking prick. You are a prick. No. You can eat my ass. You can kiss my ass. Hell, you know what? No, you can suck my dick. Let's think about this. If you, for one fucking second, thought you can help her, without dying, would you go in there? Fuck yes. Here's the problem. We all know what's gonna happen if I walk into that fucking room. I mean, really? Really, that's what you're going with here. Keep looking for Ash, and you get the bad ending, and then enter the open window, and then you run the risk of getting fucked by the ghost. And getting fucked by the ghost is, well, what happens to you regardless. So, it's a fucking bullshit question. You shouldn't have even gave me a goddamn choice. You should have just said, hey, you did these actions. Here you go. You're going down this path. Or this path. Or give me the bad path. Because I didn't meet a fucking requirement. Do what fucking Nonary games did, where you have to follow a specific path first in order to get the good ending. I fucking hate when visual novels do this shit. When it fucking tells you, hey, think logically. Oh. It's... Fuck you. Just fuck you. That's all I can say is fuck you. That is bullshit. And you know what? You know what's gonna be even worse? If that turns out to be the fucking good ending, and that these two are the fucking piss poor ones, I'm really gonna be fucking pissed. I can search for Ash, but what if it's too late by then? With how big the place is, he could be anywhere, and it's very likely by the time we come back, someone's already bit the dust. Someone's already bit the fucking dust, buddy. And you know what? Us walking in there is gonna add us to the body count. I mean, really? That, and the cries grow louder against my ears the longer I linger. Almost impossible to ignore, drawing me in like a moth to the flame. Not only that, don't you think it's a little odd that she started, like, humming and shit after you called out to her, started looking for Ash, you know? Almost like she's trying to lure you so she can decide to shove a metal rod up your ass and all that shit. I know I'm talking about ass play a lot, but come on now. It's just too easy for this thing. For a moment, I let myself shudder, shaking the uneasy feeling off my head. This can't be a good idea, not by a long shot. It's fucking not, and I don't know why they decided to make this the fucking proper way. At least I hope this is the proper way. I'm really gonna, like I said, I'm gonna be pissed if it's not. Still, I've got to try. Funnily enough, for a couple as high profile as Rice, they don't seem to have any security detail patrolling around. Yeah, because they've already all got huck and eat. A few guards here and there, sure, but no one will expect that they'd, but one still expects they have more considering the size of the place. It works to my advantage, though, as I really can't complain when there's a high chance I might get arrested for what I'm about to do. Luckily, the window's wide enough for me to fit through without making any noise. There's certainly no going back now. But as soon as I step into the parlor, all of it ceases. While I find no trace of the woman I heard crying like I'm expecting to. The room is still empty at this time at this time of morning. I'm left standing awkwardly in the middle of a hush. Maybe she's just
Hello?
somewhere.
Are you here? I heard someone earlier, and I'm here to help.
Hoping for an answer, I let my question hang in the air. But several seconds merely go by without a word or the slightest movement to indicate there's someone in here. Has been here. With the stories I've heard, the things I've seen, it takes effort to keep my brain from going into that line of thought.
I'm not going to hurt you. If you're here, say something.
Nothing. Am I just hearing things? No, I'm pretty sure I heard someone. But with no one responding, I can't help but feel silly like this. And the awareness that I've just trespassed a house for nothing because of some voice prickled at me. Suddenly, the silence feels uncomfortable, and needling anxiety slowly creeps up my back. I should get out while I can. If it ain't there, it ain't there. I don't spare the room another glance, and I walk back the way I came. Out the window, leave before someone else notices.
I thought I heard a servant moving around here. Turns out it's just a rat scurrying about. How unpleasant.
My heart shoots up in my throat. Ugh. Ugh. What did I say? What did I say? Okay, it's not the ghost bitch, but it's something fucking worse now. I can run. The window's only a few steps away. I should be able to escape, but instead, out of some foolish impulse, I turn around. Perhaps it's because the only impression the guy has left me in the last few times we met is nothing but...
This ain't what you think it is.
You're quite the distance from the kitchen, I'm afraid. Perhaps I should lead you there.
I'm sorry?
Someone's in here before me. I wasn't here for what you're thinking. There was sobbing and...
The first blow knocks the wind out of me, sending me heaving and crumpling to my knees. Tears well up my eyes and pain swells and twists my wrists behind my back.
You've got to listen to me.
Then again, dirty thieves aren't welcome in my kitchen either.
Eat my cock, you son of a bitch. For a moment, there's only silence and a sudden piercing ache, this time in the back of my head. You're a big guy! Fucking use your weight! He abruptly tilts on his axis, dimming. On the verge of unconsciousness, I can only hear the scuffling of foot, the thud of the door being closed, and a woman crying, asking for help. I know no more. No. Motherfuck. This better, I repeat, this better be the good outcome. For all the fucking bullshit. The pain is the worst when I come to. A sharp piercing ache somewhere in the back of my head, begging to be noticed. But it's nothing I can't hide. Blearily, I open my eyes, expecting to be greeted by sunlight. However, the walls that welcome me are unfamiliar. Curiosity killed the cat. Fuck you! When everything comes into focus, I recognize the place for what it is. A cell. Dark, cramped, and the only light coming from the moon outside, streaming through the sole window barred by thick metal bars. Memory rushes back to... I just realized I'm in prison. Meaning the ghost bitch shows up and I'm gonna get my ass chomped on. So, no, this is the bad ending. Yo, you guys just don't know how much I want to fucking kill something right now. Seriously, I might edit this and start playing Splinter Cell. Just start killing. Memories... All while my head still aches from the hit I received.
Still better than a morgue, I guess.
Oh, trust me, you're gonna end up there. Gingerly, I pulled myself up, stretching the cramps from my shoulders as I do so, but stopping when a sudden movement introduces the acute stinging pain right through my arm.
Damn, they got me good. What time is it?
As expected, they'd taken everything off my person. Wallet, cell phone, my keys, meds, even a small pack of gum. Protocol is protocol. In the first place, ending back in another cell ain't my agenda. The first time was not a pleasant one, and this certainly won't be better. Considering who was likely put me in here, it could be much worse. The bars are cold to the touch when I approach it, looking for a person on duty. They usually allow us to contact someone, and Ashton at least has to know I'm here. He'll be pissed that I'm quite sure of, but he's the only one who can help prove my innocence and get me out. However much I don't want to rely on him for this. The hallway in front of the cell is empty, but voices float through from further in, likely the poor officers assigned to late night duty. Judging from the snippets of conversation I catch, today's topic is that moron who thought it was wise to cross the rights. Oh yeah, that's another thing I'm fucked about, provided the ghost bitch don't get me. They're gonna bury me under the goddamn prison. They used other names too, most of which I'll have to have words with them about in the future. But really, I'm in no position.
Excuse me? Anyone?
Silence.
Excuse me! I need to make...
What I say? What did I say? You motherfucker. I don't dare turn. You might as well. One way or the other, you're getting your throat fucking ripped out. Let's be real. No more ass eating. You're about to get fucking bled. All because the game fucking tricked me and I was too fucking stupid to fall for it. Oh no, the fucking longer route's the good ending. You think I'd have learned my lesson after the fucking Hannah situation? Oh no. Oh no. No, no, no. I'm not even gonna bother reading it either. Just fucking kill me already.
Oh, Zack, sweetie. Don't you love this song?
Okay, that genuinely caught me off guard, and I literally jumped when I heard her voice. I wasn't expecting that. And she's pale as fuck. My head snaps up in surprise, and I swivel to see Miss Wright. Miss Wright, of all people, sitting on the cot. A smile easy, as sweet as ever. She's dead. She's dead, she's possessed. She is... Yeah, look. Look at the pendant. We're fucked.
Miss Wright, what are you... how did you...
I jostle the cell door to check. The prison break is the last thing on my mind, of course, but her presence here begs for a lot of puzzling questions to be answered. It's locked tight. I was just too groggy earlier that I didn't notice.
Don't be surprised, darling. Money and power can get you anything.
She has a point. Out of all people, she knows more than anyone how to play the game of the world. Yet to hear it straight out of her, it's like talking to a different person. I don't bring this up, however, because perhaps she's just having a bad day or tiff with her husband. After the incident the other day with the party, well, I don't like gossip, but it won't be surprising. Anyone can be the strangest things when in a bad mood. Still and all.
You ain't supposed to be here, Miss Wright.
Why ever not? Isn't it comfortable here?
Well, it is, kind of.
In a jail cell?
But you're still not supposed to be on this side of the cell.
Well, at least he corrected that.
Besides, it's too early. Or too late for a visit. This is beyond the scheduled hours.
Oh, I'm sure Chief Inspector Lee wouldn't mind a little chat between friends. Besides, his prison officers just snoring in the break room.
She brushes off the lock of hair on her shoulder, stands up, and meanders around the length of the cell for whatever space it would allow, as if this is just a simple stroll in the park, making a show to check every scratch the past occupants of the room has left on its walls. Nevertheless, I try to make myself small against the corner. Any closer, and we'll be crossing each other's personal spaces. Frankly, that's more than I'm comfortable
Be that
with.
as it may, they have cameras here too. How are you going to explain that when they check?
That doesn't matter, dear.
Oh, I think it does.
It does. Your popularity ain't going to give you any kind of immunity from the law. I appreciate the visit, but I'd rather not see you get into trouble.
It makes her stop. And just as I'm starting to think I finally reasoned with her,
You don't want to get out of here.
now I'm just confused. What the fuck is going on? Did I pick the good thing or did I do the bad thing? Like, what's going on? Please tell me. Explain to me.
Of course I do. But you don't have to do anything. It's my fault. I'll find a way out of this mess.
You did bring it to yourself.
This really is just a misunderstanding, Hannah. I didn't mean to trespass. If you'll just listen to the whole story, you'll know I didn't mean to do it.
I'm really disappointed in you.
Fuck off. I look straight at her. As a sudden change in tone, checking for any signs that I've upset her with what I did. Of course, she would be. She has every right to be. After all the talk and little attempts to build a friendship, here I went and broke into another person's house. Her home. On so many levels beyond any kind of friendship, it's still wrong. Her anger doesn't come as I'm expecting it to, however. Instead, she smiles. Dead. Nope, I'm dead. I am so dead. I am totally fucked. See, you see that grate right there? They're gonna be picking up my fucking shit. She'll cube me, is what she'll do. I promise you that's what it's gonna be. A horrid little smile I didn't think I'd ever see from her.
Breaking into our home, disturbing my love in his sleep. You've upset my Prince Zack. You've really upset him.
Hana?
Panic swells in me, ripping up my spine. Irrational, I know. I shouldn't feel this way about anyone you know, but here I am, backing away, trying to keep an ample distance between the two of us. I'd have to strangle a bitch, honestly. I'm afraid, wholly afraid of her, as well you should. This ain't Hana. Bars rattle as soon as my shoulders hit it. A hindrance, not to freedom, but to safety.
Has anyone ever told you how beautiful those eyes of yours are?
Eat my fucking ass, you fucking cunt. You ain't taking shit from me.
Nana? Occasionally my sister. Hana? You alright?
Y'all can't see this, but I'm giving it the bird right now. Only spite.
Makes me want to take them home, wrap them in those pretty ribbons I have in my vanity. I'm pretty sure my prince would love it, don't you think, Zachary? A little gift from me.
Stay away from me!
She moves in short, sudden, bone-crunching twists as
Somebody! Get me out of here! Anyone, please!
Bugger off! Some people are trying to get some sleep here!
No! She's here! You've gotta let me out! She's gonna kill me! Someone! She's...
Oh, you poor thing. Don't you worry. You won't even feel the pain.
bullshit. You know what? I'm gonna die anyway. You know what I'd do? You know what I'd fucking do? I'd get that last fucking punch in. I'd try to knock her clean off my feet. I'll die regardless, but you know what? I'll still have a small victory to take with me to wherever the fuck I'm going after. Eat my dick. Eat my dick. Oh, and that's not even the end of it. You've unlocked a memory fragment. What? And that's actually very dangerously close to me having to edit something in, but... What do you mean, a memory fragment? Yeah, I died. Eat my dick. That's all I can say. Eat my dick. No, fuck you. Branching paths or not, that was bullshit. You tricked me, you fucking bitch. This bitch of a game just tricked me. I'm more than a little fucking pissed right now, if you can't tell. That was bull shite. In the end, the rational part of my brain wins out. The half that has spent too much time around Ash. It's right, though, the reasonable part. If I do force my way in and find something unpleasant... You know, what did I say was going to happen whenever I went in that window, that I'd be added to the body count? Turns out I was fucking right, and the game just fucking tricked me. I fucking hate when games do that. I really do. Oh yeah, you're doing a good thing! And then you get your eyes gouged out, and then you get a memory fragment that I didn't bother to stick around for. Feel the need to reload and look at it, but... No. No. No, fuck you. If I do force my way in and find something unpleasant, how the heck am I gonna fight back? Thank you! That was what I was thinking the whole fucking time I was making that goddamn decision, and then it tricked me into harping on. No matter where you look at it, how long have I been recording? Damn near 4 hours. No matter where you look at it, they're simply asking for a painful death.
I have a better chance if I find Ash. What is he snooping about?
Perhaps I should try the forest and make a round farther into the gardens. Not a sound plan, but it's better than nothing. The woman's soft sobs have subsided now by some means. Some inaudible, almost inaudible, to the point where I'm wondering if I truly heard what I heard. I don't get to dwell on it much though, because right at the moment my phone rings. Sharp notes cut piercing through my thick... You're a cunt, Ash. Ash hole. I clamp my hand over, pressing the button for speaker, before the speaker is close to my ear.
Are you?
I hear that. I only caught the tail end of the person's greetings on the other side, but I know the voice well.
What was that, Ash? Could you repeat that? Signal shitty here.
I asked, where are you? Hell, Zach, I've been calling your number for a good 20 minutes now. What kind of shithole did you get into?
Good morning to you, too. I should be asking you that question.
The kind that
I've been looking all over the mansion for you.
The kind that involves me getting my eyes gouged out, apparently. So, fuck you. Tricked me, is what that was. I'm not gonna get over that one anytime soon. I'm gonna remember that next time I'm forced to help someone in this fucking game.
I thought you'd be...
What mansion?
Do I really need to answer that?
Why are you even... No, wait. Just get your ass here at Isabella's place, and hurry!
I shift my gaze to the mansion, specifically at the window where I heard the cries from. There's nothing there now, not even echoes.
How urgent is this?
Pressing enough for you to stop asking questions and get yourself here.
He saw something.
Please, Zach.
That gives me pause. It is a rare thing for him to take on that tone.
I'll be there in a few. An hour or two, tops.
Thanks. I'll see you.
I rush back to my bike as soon as the call ends. Without another look, I leave the mansion along with its haunting melodies and grim echoes behind. There are more important things than my own curiosities and impulses. Fucking asshole. Just fucking asshole. Alright, this is where I'm gonna call it. I've been going long enough, and, well, yeah. As much as I enjoyed this game, it did really just genuinely piss me the fuck off with that bullshit just now, seriously. Like, I was joking with the goddamn QuickTime event, and I was joking with the whole, I was joking, having fun, and then it went and pulled some bullshit like that. No, you don't fucking do that. Like, I hate it whenever they don't give you clear fucking answers. They're left for a 50-50 chance of you to get it right. And then on top of that, add insult to injury, the short one was the fucking correct answer. Anyway, now that I've done ranted that bit, if you liked the video, please like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. See ya.